Alright, hello everyone watching. If everyone wants to introduce themselves, so I'm obviously Daniel Condillo, as you know. And who else is here?
Mackenzie critiques. Yeah, Mackenzie critiques.
Ryan Mac.
Bob the Gintama.
And you've seen the title that King Recon's in the title. He's going to join when he gets. He was here just now, and he's going to get home and join in a bit.
Yeah, the hype master.
Exactly, man. You can't have it cool without King Recon in it. So.
Exactly, yeah.
Alright, so I didn't. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really know where to start with this. I was like, because there's so much to ask. First thing I gotta ask, right? I'll ask Moyne, and then everyone else can kind of put their thoughts in, discussing and stuff. The first thing I want to say, like, alright, Mackenzie, yeah, what?
Yeah.
When you're watching episode 3 or 5, right? Oh, by the way, in case you didn't realise this, obviously gonna have spoilers for the anime, so if you're not caught up, then you might want to leave like straight away.
Yeah.
Like, straight away.
If you're not caught up, you're pleb.
Yeah. You're a pleb first, but then you also need to get the fuck out seriously.
Yeah.
I'm taking no responsibility. But yeah, when you saw episode 3 or 5, man.
Yeah.
Gin was walking towards Shoyo with his sword in his hand, man.
Yeah.
And you saw Takasugi was on the floor screaming.
Yeah.
What was we saw what was on the outside. What was on the inside, man? How are you feeling on the inside?
I was like, I felt as though there's always been something with Gintoki, man. Like there's always been some distance between Gintoki and his other compatriots, like from the Joey Patriots, like something's singling him out. But then he's approaching them. I was like, fuck, what is going on? Like, are they gonna get him to do it? Is he gonna do it under duress and that kind of stuff? But when I saw the head come off, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Then it was that moment where you understand Gintoki. It like, clicks. Like I was saying, there's like a piece of the puzzle that comes into place, and then you kind of understand everything that Gintoki's done or talked about, in the series, and some of the little tidbits and flashbacks. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then obviously, like, you know how I felt about Takasugi in the series. Like, you know what I've been saying about him. Like, where is he? I don't feel much of him. But I think for more than anyone, it clicked with me for Takasugi. He was the one that clicked with me. I was like, okay, now I fully freaking understand why Takasugi is like fuck everything. Because, like, he not only hates Gintoki in that moment, he hates Bakfu, he hates Tendo, he hates everyone at that moment. So it gives you more clarity about why he doesn't want to compromise, that everything needs to go. Not just his comrades, but the government, the Tendoshi, everyone. So it all clicked for me there, man. Like, that was the moment where everything came into place.
Yeah, after that moment, you see all the series in a different view.
Yeah, man. Like,
when I rewatched and reread the manga, I saw so many foreshadowings. It was incredible.
I think that when like Shinsuke was screaming at Gil and stuff.
Yeah.
When did you think, like, I'm trying to think how to word this. When did you think, like, who's in the right out of them? Because they're both like complete opposites.
Well, yeah.
So,
I thought
either of them are in the right, or like.
The way Gintoki's been like he's the MC, the way he's been built up in this story, I was sure that there wasn't anything malicious behind what he was doing. And then obviously this was before we saw the smile and Shoyu saying thank you to him. They had an understanding. I think Shoyu and Gintoki had an understanding which was more than what the other guys had. I don't think Zura had the same understanding with Shoyu, or Takasugi didn't have the same sort of understanding as Gintoki had, because he obviously he'd picked him off the battlefield when he was like scavenging and shit. So they had a connection there. They were survivors. So I understood there was nothing malicious. But I actually flipping felt for Takasugi. Like, I thought to myself, you know what? Everything I said about Takasugi bad in the moments he appeared, they all nullified. They completely nullified. That guy jumped from nowhere near my top 15 to my top 5, like Takasugi did. Now, with Gintoki, it's different because he's been in my face for like so long. I love his like jokes. I love his attitude, normally. But you know me, I always said to you guys, that I never thought of him as my favorite character, like my top 5 or something. But in that moment, he also like jumped significantly. But Takasugi for me was always one step, like 2 steps back anyway. You know, like how much I dislike Takasugi. For him to jump from -2 to 3 was a bigger jump than what happened for Gintoki. But you know, afterwards it gave me a lot of clarity about Gintoki and all the conversations that he was having with everyone else about, you know, losing your master and, you know, carrying forward all that stuff that you had taught him and stuff.
Yeah. And did you think, like, I don't know if you really picked up on it, but you know, in Red Spider arc, when Skuyo was obviously fighting with Jiraiya and stuff, who's her teacher. And he was talking to Zenzo, and Zenzo was saying about how, like, the students have to carry their teachers and stuff. And I don't know if you remember, they had like a conversation for, I don't know, 30 seconds or something. That was kind of like foreshadowing, but you never really guess it until you've actually seen it.
Zenzo's the thread, isn't it? He's the linking thread through everything. Like, but I guess you could say that about Shinigami arc. There was a lot of foreshadowing in Shinigami arc, little tidbits. I think it's more.
Oh, there was so much. There was so much in Shinigami.
But the Zenzo stuff, you're right about the Zenzo stuff, because obviously Zenzo's got relations to the previous Shogun, and you know, being the son of the guy who was the double. I think it was the double for the Shogun, and he protected him by pretending to be him when Jiraiya attacked. So there's all this history that's linked with whatever was going on, and everyone's kind of had the same experience. Like, obviously with FS, they have an equal experience. So I think there's so many characters that have had a similar experience that they can kind of understand each other about, you know, the carrying on legacies and all that stuff, so the students carrying the teachers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I guess in a way, even Shinpachi kind of has that in a way, because like I think it's the very first thing you see in in canon Gintama is like their dad dying and stuff. So I know, like, there's like the joke that they forget about rebuilding the school and stuff, but I guess it's still kind of an example, because like there was the episodes where Shinpachi was teaching the homeless guys how to fight with a sword and stuff like that.
You know what?
So
sorry, Ewan.
No, I was just gonna say, in a way, it's kind of like even like Gin and Shinpachi kind of have that in common, really.
For me, the Beam Saber arc is where it clicked for me for Shinpachi, because, you know, like in episode 1, like you question, like, all right, you know, Shinpachi's following Gintoki, he's looking up to him, but why? What does he see in Gintoki? And when the Beam Saber arc happened, they create the comparison between the guy they call Big Brother Obi-Wan, and what the similarities were between Gintoki. Then it clicked. I was like, okay, this makes sense. This is why Shinpachi respects Gintoki and why he would follow him as a student figure. And then that was also foreshadowing, where Gintoki took it on himself to bow his head, you know, to take on taking that. And then he took on the responsibility, the burden, basically, which is what, you know, Shoyo took on for them. So
yeah, well, I mean, you can go back in so many early episodes to see foreshadowing for
the orphans.
It's the thematic foreshadowing.
Episode 19 or 20, no, I don't remember very well, but in the first 20, there was that episode with the father that was in the arena. When he dies, Gintoki understands perfectly how the children felt in that moment.
Oh yeah.
He paused. There
was even foreshadowing for David. Like, I remember in the first 20 episodes there was for David's foreshadowing as well. Tose and the other guys.
There was in like episode, I think it was 50 something. And then you got in episode, this is a really hard thing to say, episode 17, which is Shinsuke's first canon appearance, wasn't he? There was right at the start when Katsura and Shinsuke are talking on the bridge. There's a little bit of Shogun assassination foreshadowing there as well, when he's talking about the festival and stuff, and he's saying about how the Shogun's head would fly. I mean, that kind of literally happened at the start of SA, didn't it? It wasn't the actual Shogun, but...
They what was that? What arc was that? Where was that the one where Gengai creates a cannon that yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, so you get an idea of the sort of plan that he had in place, Takasugi. So there is that foreshadowing. You know, you can just breadcrumb trails towards that.
I think you know pretty much throughout the whole. As soon as you at least see Shinsuke and Gin at least meet for the first time, I think you would kind of know that something big is going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
Because I mean, look, as much as I love Shinsuke as a character, if he never actually, say he died without, I'm not saying he's dead or if he's alive, I'm just saying if hypothetically speaking, if he died without doing anything like that, he would drop in my character list because I think, well, why were you here, kind of thing, like what are you doing?
Yeah.
Because Gintama likes to tease a lot.
It does, man. It teases a lot.
Yo, Dan, they're all complaining about there being no live chat.
Yeah, look, man. Look, I can see your guys' comments, so it's cool. But I'm just gonna be straight up honest with you guys. I don't use Google Plus. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I just wanted to start. We had like technical difficulties, and we had like half hour. I was like, let me just start before anything else happens, because that'd be my luck.
Yeah.
I tried getting the Q&A thing. I assumed that'll be it, but it's saying like, I don't know, it's saying I can't do it for some reason. There was a problem with this action. So I can see your guys' comments. I'm just not reading them because we're talking. I can see them.
Yeah. You can address them if someone asks a question about opinions. Yeah, you can address them.
I can see it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Kaiser just called you a tech pleb.
Yeah, I see it.
Hey, Kaiser has got entitled to say that, man. Number one. She's number one.
Nah, man. We'll get onto that, man.
Alright. You're the host, man.
No, sure. I was gonna say, I'm gonna lie, I completely forgot.
Oh, the recon.
There we go. Hype Master's back.
Nah, I was saying, oh yeah, I was gonna say, in Shinigami arc, there's one bit where the Yorozuya and Asaemon, I can't remember where they're going. They're going somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's foreshadowing to Gin killing Shoyo there.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact
a little bit. Yeah.
She's got a sword to her master. What's his name? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There is a lot, and what he says to her, as well.
Yeah.
In that arc, yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, that had a lot of foreshadowing in general. I think with Nobu and.
You know, for me, that arc was. Yeah, so that arc was weak until the end. Like, generally, I wasn't a big fan of that arc, but the introduction, obviously, of Nobu, and now when I look back at the stuff towards the end about him being a puppet and all that stuff, and Nobu being the mastermind behind egging that guy on, then it kind of makes sense to me. Right? It's a more, for me, it's a better arc for that reason, because of stuff that comes later. That's often the case with Gintama, where you may not enjoy it the first time, but when you see something later, then you go back to a previous arc. You get more fulfillment from it, watching it. So.
Well, that's a perfect example. When you reacted to Thorny, I enjoyed it way more when I watched it. When I watched your reaction, like 10 times more.
Yeah.
It was, like when I first watched it, it wasn't one of my top arcs. I was like, yeah, it's a good arc, but nothing. Like when it comes to Gintama, it's nothing special.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, when I saw like what happened to Isaburo and Nobume backstory and stuff, I enjoyed it way more when I saw it.
Yeah. Even the donuts made sense. When he was basically had a donut at the end of a fishing pole, when she was in the rubble at the end of Thorny. Like, you're thinking, what the hell is this? But then in the future, we get to see him feeding her donuts when she's a kid. So these little things start to flesh out a bit.
Also, the alliance with Takasugi and Isaburo. You can understand that they.
I understood why they aligned, because their kind of beefs were mutually they were basically beneficial to each other, but they didn't like each other necessarily. Everyone's using everyone. Takasugi thought he was using everyone, but the Tendosha were using everyone, and that all falls apart when that happens.
That's what happened in Gintama, really. I mean, pretty much all of the bad guys all linked with someone else in. They're pretty much all controlled by the Tendoshu in one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Mm.
The Tendoshu piss me off though, man. These guys don't get touched. They're like they are literally the Illuminati, man. Yeah.
Illuminati.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
It wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be so bad if they were human Illuminati, but these guys are like in space somewhere, just chilling while everyone's killing each other down there, man.
Yeah, they're all like in there, what, like hundreds or something. Probably they should die soon. To be honest, like.
They want samurais fighting samurais. They want to just cut down the numbers, man. Like that's really what the game seems to be. Shinsengumi fighting the Mimodagumi, Joey Patriot factions fighting each other and all that stuff.
But then I mean, we saw what happened to like Isaburo and stuff. That he wasn't actually a bad guy and stuff.
Yeah, he wasn't.
So I mean,
he wasn't necessarily. But that's my issue. I think he did a lot more. No, he didn't do a lot more bad. It's just backstory that made you kind of see it from his perspective. But overall, what he was doing was a lot. I think it was quite bad. But I don't know, man. I don't know where I fall with that character. He's not as as clear cut for me as certain other characters. Because he's very similar to. I'll give you an example here. Like the way they handle him is the way they handle villains in some of these arcs, like Red Spider, Ford Davis, particularly, and even back to when we did Ito. These guys were, you didn't like them. You didn't really like Ito much when he's first introduced. You didn't like Jiraiya much. I liked him, but I didn't like him as But then you see a little glimpse of something that might have happened in the past that gives you, okay, I can understand why he's doing it. So I don't know which one of these villains I kind of fall on the side of, okay, was he a bit more right than he was wrong? Isaburo is very hard for me to decide, but I think he redeemed himself at the end when he pushed Nobume and his brother, and made that sacrifice. So
yeah, I mean,
Ito made a sacrifice when he stood in front of the helicopter where Kondo was in the train. It's always about the self-sacrifice element to it.
Yeah,
that's true actually. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I like Isaburo and I respect. At first, I like. Before all that backstory stuff, I really could not give any less of a fuck about him. I'm just going to be completely honest. I did not care about him. He was just a twat. But then, like, I don't know, I like him and everything, but even when I saw his backstory and stuff, I still didn't really feel... I feel like I should have had more of a connection.
Same. I agree. I think Isaburo had the... Yeah.
Everyone I've asked is either like you or they're complete opposite and they absolutely love him. It really goes either way.
Yeah.
The thing is, in my top 5.
Top 5?
Yeah.
See, that's what I told you, man. Everyone's different.
Isaburo, top 5?
Yeah.
Oh, he's in your top 5, really?
Yeah. If I add in 1 in front of it, I agree.
Yeah, that makes more sense to be quite,
Nah, man, come on. Number 5. This isn't a popularity poll streamer. we talk about.
It should be. A better poll in Japan does, man. For their popularity poll.
Yeah, man.
If I can just add like a bit of that for me when it comes to the Isaburo
what's that
thing.
Sonic Great, isn't it?
Like, you already know, bro. 20th anniversary, we're in there, man. But what's that called? Like, my whole thing with Isaburo, I absolutely loved his flashback and his character, especially his relationship with Nobume. That was probably my favorite thing about that entire flashback. But when it comes to why it didn't hit me as hard as like the other things did, is because I felt like that was the Shinsengumi's arc, and I feel like that was Kondo's arc. And even though the stuff with Isaburo was going down, the thing I really cared about when we were going at it weekly was, is Kondo going to survive? Is Hijikata going to die? Is Sogo might die? Like at the time, even though I cared for it, I had other things that I had priority over. And then of course after that comes in Utsuro, and you're like, man, like, and the initial death hits you hard. But I felt like I felt more sorry for Nobume than I did for Isaburo. Even I still love Isaburo, but it was just a lot of other things that took priority for me overall.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff in the arc overshadowed
exactly
that.
The same for me.
Yeah.
But after watching the episode, with the music, or It hit me hard.
Music was
music was on
I think it
point.
was done. I think it was done way
After
better in the
watching
anime than manga, to be honest.
315. 315 is my favorite episode, along with 305.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's high praise.
Actually, that's right though. I think I agree with the Bogdi. Yeah, that was.
I was going to ask you that actually.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you actually. I was going to say, what is your favorite episode? I was asking now. What's your favorite episode?
Serious?
On
I
the
think
top of your head.
on top of my head, 315, man, for sure.
Oh, that's a great choice.
Yeah.
Savile Death. Your favorite episode.
Oh no, what's the Utsuro?
314.
314.
It's
Yeah.
314.
314. Yeah. 314 is my favorite. It was just, that you think he couldn't be topped. When Gintoki was beheading Shoyo, you thought it couldn't be topped. I honestly did not expect anything could top that twist or that revelation. And then when you flip and have him right there in front of him, you think, what the hell's going on? I did not expect, Gintama to take this turn. And particularly the way he was, his abilities, and we've got that Garasu faith or whatever it is that they're talking about. And you want to know what the hell is going on. Resurrection's never been possible in Gintama, at least in a serious way. So what's going on? I think more because of what's to come in the future, combined with the twist, I think that gave me more of an impact. Because for me, it was like the end of a tale when I found out about Gintoki. That was his arc for me, like a full circle. But the Shoyo one was more about what the hell, where the hell is Gintama going to head now, and what the fuck just happened. So that impact was unsurpassed for me, man. Like in the show.
That's definitely a great choice. Like one thing I can definitely give the anime a lot of props for when it came to that specific episode was number one, his voice actor, because he did a really good job of hiding it for quite some time. A lot of differentiating between the original one that we heard in the flashbacks and that one. It was really, really well done. And then what I didn't think they were gonna do, which the manga did perfectly, was that they led up to it and then it was page by page. Like it shows them, you're like, what? And it shows that, and then it shows the next panel. But the way the anime did it with little transition and the cross dissolve, I was like, yo, they did it perfectly. They did it perfectly. Like,
yeah.
Even the way they drew Shoyo before his mask came off was slightly more muscular. Like you couldn't really tell it was him, but slowly they transitioned into and the smile. The smile. The moment he smiled, that was the moment I fucking lost my shit, man. I was like, I recognize that flipping smile. It's Shoyo, and that was the moment, man, for me.
Well,
I just sealed it. Yeah.
Shoyo in the flashback always wear kimono. Kimono hides very well in the musical.
Kimono, yeah.
So you do not expect him to be bulk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. You always think he's got a kind of a slender figure, like usually, but I didn't expect him to be like sleeveless, like when you see him. So that's why I think that's a good thing that they did. To just show him in one particular attire, never changing when they show the flashbacks, and then have him completely different. And you would not have expected that. I thought they actually predicted it. I thought it was a dumb prediction. You know who I think that is? I show you. I thought that was the dumbest prediction.
I pissed myself so much.
In the manga, all of us.
But
well, when it was coming out weekly, we were all like, yo, that has to be Shoyo. Like the moment he showed up.
Yeah, exactly.
When I did my reaction to that episode, I was like, hey, that kind of looks like Shoyo, and then I just laughed it off.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck when it actually
you can
happened?
see that guy in the intros. Like you could see him in the intros to these. But I still didn't think it was impossibly Shoyo. I thought it could be any character that might be introduced. I actually thought it might be female for a second as well. So that was also a good troll as well.
It could be Musu, same hand. That's what my brother thought. He thought it was Musu.
What?
Because he said like, oh, I bet it's Musu in it. My mate, I think he's watching actually. He just said that it was Mutsu so that he wouldn't try and get spoiled on it being Shoyo, and then when he saw it, obviously freak out even more and stuff.
Yeah.
But the day before, man, it was so hard not to say it because he kept going, oh man, I was so close to seeing the reaction, I got spoiled, fuck this community. I was so
right that, man.
Yo, Makenchi, man, I have to know, what are your thoughts on Utsuro's Final Fantasy secret boss theme?
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
The toast is.
No, that was. You know what? That's also part of the reason why I thought that was amazing. Like, you know when something's unprecedented in the show, you need to give it its own flipping theme, man. And I think the music in that entire arc was like, that's a fucking perfect choice, man. Like, you know, this is a new phase in Gintama, so you got to transition all the. And that's why I love this arc, because they repeat music that hasn't been overused in the show so far. They had that kind of dread, you know, the horror type music going on in FS, and the entire flipping arc was completely dark, like a grey filter on it, because you know this was a new era in the show. And I thought, you know what, that was brilliant, man. I love that music, especially with the solo stuff.
I just want to say really quickly, people watching, I can see your comments. I'm kind of going to go for the flow of the conversation, then afterwards I'll come back and read them, and then we'll talk about some of the questions that are in here and stuff like that. Now, don't worry, I can see everything. I'm just going to go with the flow for a bit.
Yeah. I actually want to take this opportunity. I want to ask Recon something. Like, you know, like you're the hype master and everything. I don't know your least favorite characters. Who's your least favorite character in Gintama? Like, characters that you don't care much for or something, because I've been curious for a while. Like,
yeah, I like to be honest with you, I care about every single character, but like if that's tough. I seriously do not dislike any Gintama character. Before some like recent stuff in the manga, I could have probably said Obero, but I can't say that anymore. I can't say that anymore.
Oh, damn.
So
like,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, the one thing that for me, like, I don't dislike Tama. Like, I know you're a big supporter of Tama as the character. Oh, yeah. Like, what's your reasons for liking Tama? Because I just don't see it, man. Like, honestly, from my perspective.
So what it is I really love what Tama does to the characters around her, because since she has generally no emotions, she's a robot. She brings like this level of, okay, everyone sees this perspective of the situation, but Tama brings the other perspective of the situation. Usually, it's the perspective that is truly the one that brings them together. And like that's why I love the Gintama arc, because in the Gintama arc, it was truly how the soul of a non-human and a human came together to bring the series back to where it was before. And and Oil Rain is another representation of that for me. So I've always loved the Tama. I don't like it's hard to explain. I think she's really, really funny. Because her comedy is like, she doesn't try to be funny, but it just comes off as funny. And that's the way I feel about her. Her in the confessional arc is some of my favorite stuff. It's absolutely hilarious. And I just feel like whenever she's in an episode with Gintoki, it's kind of like whenever Shige and Katsura are in the same episode. It's just automatic. I just die of laughter. It's really funny.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Shige with it. You know, with Tama, I don't dislike her. I actually think she's a nice character. I liked her introduction arc with her whole story and backstory and all that kind of stuff. She's like a Vulcan-esque humor. You know how Vulcans are literal with what they say, but they come off funny as well. I think she's definitely got that quality about her, where she's sometimes literal, but then it comes off kind of funny. I don't know, I think maybe her lack of appearance throughout the show. I mean, we had Tama Quest, and then we had some appearances, obviously, in Gintama. But I don't know, man. I don't know why I don't like her more. I wish I liked her more. I loved her introduction in the show, man. But maybe in future she can grow on me. But I just don't like Sachin, man. I think Sachin for me is like...
not even after SA? Not even after SA?
You know, like, that was... For me, that was too little, as far as the anime goes, too little, too late, for me. I respect what she did. They made a conscious decision to downplay her, and even they were making jokes about, like, you're not acting like yourself, like Zenzo was saying. This isn't how you usually act. You're not acting like yourself. And I think that was more like a commentary about how, how they specifically made it like that for the sake of the drama, whereas I just don't like overall the way she's been throughout the entire show generally. But, she redeemed herself in some way for me in that arc. So
I'll tell you what, when I first read, I believe it was 513. When I first saw the ending there, whenever she got stabbed by Takatsuki, I thought she was dead. I thought it'd be 100, bro.
Same here. Yeah, I thought she was gonna die there. And you know what? Part of me was hoping she wouldn't, because my reaction would have been not really much at all, man. To be honest, considering how much I dislike that. But I'm actually glad she survived. I mean, she did a lot in that arc for me that made me see it in a different light. Now I hope that's not forgotten, and we can see her in that light now, especially where we are in Gintama now and the turmoil and everything that's going on.
Well, I don't know if you guys talked about this yet, but what are your thoughts on
He's great in this.
Do you know what? It's funny you bring Zenzo up there, because in SA, the moment I think he beheads the real Shige, that was just insane, that moment, man. But then I think I've always liked Zenzo throughout the show. I think he's been one of those enigmatic characters on the sides that knows stuff and is like linked with the ninjas. But obviously with SA, ninjas are the first time we really see the ninjas as a force. We see the 3 heads of the ninja families and all that stuff really introduced there. But my issue is that Zenzo was established, the other 2 weren't. I wish they would have been established, so I would have had more context for Zenzo and the stuff that he goes through in his life. But I like Zenzo, even though he wasn't much in the show.
In the manga, it was shocking.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
that
panel, man.
I read the manga, then I had to wait a week to see what's going on.
I put it to you like this: because I was originally supposed to do only a live reaction to chapter 502 and 503, because I read 503. I didn't stop. I didn't stop. That panel was because it was the same thing I have with the Utsuro panel. Whenever it was real who he truly was, it was Srirachi placed one page, and on the next page with no music, no nothing, it was just there it is.
Yeah.
And I was my mouth dropped. I was like, what? This isn't the same Zenzo. This can't be.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, man, I thought it was like a traitor and stuff. Like,
I genuinely thought that Zenzo. Do you know what the best thing about that was? That you could believe that Zenzo could do that. That was the most beautiful thing about that, because you could believe he could do that, because they made him sort of an amoral character. So you could see him falling on either side. But the conversations that he had with Sachin in the. Sorry, who was it? Gintoki had it with the Jump magazine inside the shop.
Yes.
That stuff, you could at that moment buy that he could have gone either way because of his morals. But I love that. I love it. I love that character, man. Honestly, you feel as though he could go either way, and that was the most beautiful thing. I was shocked, but then afterwards I thought, okay, I can sort of come to terms with what he might be doing. But then the flashbacks happen, and then these kind of promises and his history with Shige and all that stuff, and then it kind of. That was how you handle it. I think they handled that much better than they handled Isaburo in FS. That's the big difference, I think. And they both probably appeared just as much as each other. Overall, I think Zenzo.
No, I think Zenzo appeared a lot more than this. Isaburo came in late, remember?
Well, he did, but he appeared a lot in FS. Just that arc alone, he appeared a lot. So Tony arc as well, he was in.
There was a chapter with him and Hikata that wasn't adapted, actually. I really hope there was.
Yeah, 435.
Yeah. Man, how do you remember this, man? Man, you remember all the chapters and shit, right?
Yeah.
No, but I really hope they was gonna adapt that, because I thought it would have added. I was worried that a lot of people wouldn't care when Isaburo died. So I thought if it at least had that, people might be like, oh yeah, I remember this guy, kind of thing, like.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
he's not in it a lot, man.
I'm not gonna lie. In the Thorny arc, I didn't care that much for him. I really started caring for Isaburo more than before in Courtesan, and then of course in FS. But in Courtesan, I really started caring for him.
He's got one of the best quotes in the arc, man. This is the police.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's one of the best quotes.
Exactly.
That's one of my favorite quotes in the whole show, man.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the police, the legendary Sogo, man, that's top 3 favorite lines in the whole series. Don't underestimate Earth's police.
Yeah, that's good. They always change that a little bit in the anime, though, don't they? Like in the manga, it's like, I'm one hell of a criminal. Then they changed it a little bit, man. I'm one hell of a villain, so I'm one hell of a villain.
Yeah.
When I was reading the manga, you didn't know if you will survive against Kamui. It was very tense. It was a very tense fight.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You remember that panel, Bagdi, of the hand, whenever the hand fell, and you're like, oh shit!
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Greatness, man.
In the manga, it was savage, the savage chapter.
When chapter 504 ended and you saw the blood everywhere and Sogo walks out, you're like, oh no, Sriracha, don't do this.
You know, the trolling for Sogo is nothing compared to the trolling for Kondo and FS. Kondo, how many times did we think that the guy was dead? Like, 3 freaking times, man.
3 times.
Like, dude, my heart skipped a beat there, man.
I just want to say quickly,
There were
when I was reading FS, like the first time, and I saw Kondo's head beheaded, I was literally on the verge of like screaming. I'm not even joking.
Yeah,
FS has no.
I didn't believe it for a second. I didn't want to get filmed off like that.
I was reading it on my iPad, right? I got to that panel, I literally dropped it, and I think my screen was cracked. I was like,
I yelled every possible Spanish
for like a minute, and I was thinking like, no, I didn't want to carry on. I really not. And then I saw next page as a dream. I was like, fuck you. Why did you have to do that?
Exactly. That was like insane. That was. I couldn't believe it.
Was
in the manga was shocking.
Yeah, especially because we didn't find out that he was actually left for 5 chapters. We were like, what happened to Kondo?
Exactly.
Was it a dream? I don't understand.
I went straight through those chapters in like 5 minutes. I'm not even joking. I was fast reading them so much until I saw Kondo again. I was scared, man. He's my favorite character.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you there, man. Kondo's number 2 for me. And like when I saw that, I was like, "Come on, dog! It can't be."
Man.
I was yelling so hard, dude.
I honestly would have cried my eyes out, man. More than 519, more than 544, anything.
Yeah. What do you think of?
I hadn't been yet. But...
Daniel, about when they showed Mount Zaki, Yamazaki in the backstory with the freaking punk rock heads.
Come on, 3.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the fuck?
Yamazaki is older than Kondo. Yamazaki is older than Kondo.
He's older than Kondo. Yeah, man. I was like, what? Yeah. That's insane.
Kondo was like 20. I think Kondo's 29, 28. Yamazaki's like 31.
Wow, man.
Yamazaki is 33, if I'm not wrong. They're 33.
Yeah.
But you know, wait, I know obviously Recon you've read 20th Century Boys. I don't know if any of you guys have as well.
Only the first one.
He's like,
I started
just quickly, I'll just say, one more volume of 21st Century Boys is over. But I just want to say, Yamazaki reminds me of, you know, I always forget his name. He's Cho-san's grandson, the detective.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember it one time either.
Oh, he's straight up Yamazaki. His uncle is called Yamazaki. But I'm like, you're Yamazaki. That's what I call you. Because I always forget your name and you're like Yamazaki, man.
You know, when trying to describe to a 20th Century Boys fan, because I think I actually know more 20th Century Boys fans than I know of Gintama fans. Well, maybe not anymore, but in the past. In the past, when I first got into Gintama.
Oh, introduce me, man. Introduce me.
Yeah. so like every single time that I tried to explain to them what Shogun Assassination was to be like in 20th Century Boys terms, I'm like, look, the Hanged Hill is from 503 to like to 524 or 502 to 524. That's the Hanged Hill of Gintama. You just can't stop, yo.
That's more like Bloody New Year's Eve, man.
Oh yeah, that one too. Yeah. That one too.
No, we'll talk about 20th Century Boys in a bit, man. This is Gintama stream, man. I just had to read that quick. No, yeah, Moin, I wanted to ask you, what do you think? What do you think is gonna happen with like Shinsengumi, man? Because they're gone.
I think they're more liberated now, man. I think they were shackled with their duties. I know they took it seriously, but I think they can do more now. Being free of this kind of stuff. Obviously, they were talking about trying to get anti-government allies on their side and all that stuff. I mean, I think it's a lot better. It was more liberating. I mean, isn't that the theme of the show? Like, swinging your swords without masters. Finding your own samurai way and all that stuff. So I think now they're really free to find their own way. And go out there and get some support. Because they were really not liked in their role. They really weren't liked by a lot of people. Like obviously the Joy as Zura's faction and that kind of thing. But now that they've got a common cause, you can get some shit done now. Now Zura doesn't have to run around throwing bombs all over the place and not getting things done. Now he can kind of, join up and get something done. And especially with this government, now everyone's got someone to hate. Yorozu's Soul's got someone to hate. Shinsengumi or ex-Shinsengumi got someone to hate. Zura's got someone to hate. So many people got someone to hate now.
Yeah, exactly. And now
people couldn't come around someone like Shigeshige, who was the perfect leader. But at least they can now come together around a common enemy, which is Nobunobu, and get that illegitimate government out. Man.
What do you think will happen with like Nobunobu in the manga? Do you reckon he's anything big has happened with him, or?
Do you know what? I love the mystery. Like, Nobunobu was like a badass to me until Kamui just flipping punched him in the face and then I was like, you know what? I can't take this guy seriously. Cannot take this fucking guy seriously now. He's gonna be ousted like that, man. As soon as the people get organized, I can see that guy just being completely ousted. I mean, who's he got? I mean, he's got the numbers and all that stuff, but Nobunobu, man, I was expecting. That's the brilliant thing, man. Like, they bigged up Nobunobu as this threat. But you can see how he was basically whipped, man, by Kamui, and it's like then all that mystery and all that stuff goes, man. And I think you hate him more that way because he's nobody. He was in the scenes, yeah.
In the manga, the scene was more unexpected because you turn the page and Kamui just punched him.
Yeah.
And then it was out of nowhere. Out of nowhere.
I jumped out of my seat. I thought it was just another comedy chapter.
Yeah, exactly.
And I saw Kamui. I was like, "Whoa!"
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Actually, do you know what? I want to bring up. Yeah, sorry. I just want to bring up. What do you think of Sakamoto's? You know, the biggest question, like the biggest, not an issue, but how do you guys feel Sakamoto's been treated in this show overall? Because he's always the guy that's brought up a lot about his presence in the show and how he's dealt with and all that kind of thing. Are you guys happy with it? How he's been like in the show so far?
I think
he's in space.
I think the only thing, honestly, is that because he lives in like space and stuff, so I don't think he needs to be in it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, like, obviously Gin gets the most screen time. Katsura gets a lot of screen time as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, Shinsuke, he doesn't get loads, but he's like the main antagonist in a comedy series. He's not going to get loads.
Yeah.
And then Sakamoto, I think, I would like to. The only problem I have is screen time because he got quite a lot in the 2015 season, like compared to before. He got a fair few episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like they did with Shinsuke as well. It was after Benny Zakura, I think, like all the way until Renho, he wasn't in like once.
Yeah.
That was like the only thing. That's the same with Shinsuke after Shinsengumi Crisis and the episode 215 where he teamed with Kamui. He wasn't in like any canon material. So I kind of think Sakamoto could have been at least in like once.
Yeah. I mean, from people like Takasugi, I can understand why you want to keep some mystery around the villains, but I never quite understood what the mystery. Why keep Sakamoto, this guy, enigmatic guy in space, and not kind of follow his travels and kind of stuff. I appreciate that they did put in the Sakamoto's double. I think that was a double or triple that they put in before SA started about some facts. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't really blame Sriracha though, because I remember, and I know this is completely different, but I remember Vince McMahon was talked about the value of not having people show up for a long time and like whenever they return, it creates like that pop or whatever. And hey, shout out to NXT. And for me and Sakamoto, it's kind of like that, but also if you bring Sakamoto in, him and Gintoki mainly talk about the past.
Yeah.
So like if you bring him in, it's like it forces you to get another insight into the Joy War, and we can't get one like a lot because then it devalues the mystery around it and everything about them whenever he was a Shiroyasha and all that stuff. So because with Katsura, he can talk about the future and the present. With Takatsugi, they kept it away the same way. Well, not the same reason, but a similar way that they did with Sakamoto, because once Gintoki meets up with Takatsugi, once Gintoki meets up with Sakamoto, we're going to learn more about the past somehow.
Yeah.
So I think that's why Sarashi kept him away. As the way that he did.
I don't know whether it's just me, but whenever a spaceship, like you know, in these Shogun Assassination and FS, whenever a spaceship appeared out of nowhere and then they cut to it and you're like thinking some shit's gonna go on, I kept thinking fucking Sakamoto's coming back from space to join the fray, yeah. And I was like, then I thought to myself, why am I keep thinking this? And I'm thinking to myself, I feel as though he should be more involved in stuff that, you know, this was a crucial the war basically was such a crucial moment. You want him to have his moment like Zuda had his moment in FS. Because, you know, in SA, like, we had that discussion, Daniel, where you told me why doesn't Zuda appear in SA, because he's... Yeah. And then I thought, okay, makes sense. Now he's had his moment in FS. I want Sakamoto to have that moment where he's got that resonance with whatever's going on. Because usually he doesn't resonate with what's going on depending on his arc. It's obviously, like Recon said, it's reminiscing about the past usually, or it's to do with his business dealings and you know, his character. I want him to have something that resonates with the experiences that he's had. So maybe, hopefully, in future, man, like, you know, he'll start appearing.
I ain't gonna say anything, obviously, because we got 2 people who haven't read the manga. But I mean, there's another arc after FS, man. You never know.
Oh shit!
I'm just saying.
There's actually 2 arcs after FS, but.
Well, yeah, we just started the latest one.
Yeah.
The arc we just had. I mean. Who knows what went down? I mean, I do, but
yeah,
I ain't gonna say. No, but yeah, my mate said in the comments, he wants us to talk about episode 308, man. The first episode of FS.
Oh wow.
First episode,
I
think 308. You know, up until this point, it was really hard for me to give like either side the advantage. But 308 was the first time where I could actually say that the anime did it, did like a completely 100% better, because I had never seen them capture the atmosphere the way they did in 308. It's kind of going back to what Makaji was saying earlier about how dark the Farewell to Tsukumi arc was, and they captured it so well in the very first episode. Covering only 2 chapters, and they split it in half exactly like it was in the manga, and it was paced well. It was great. The addition of the new opening that came in also, it was such a good episode, and one of the best beginnings to an arc in the entire series.
Yeah,
I would say deep. To be honest.
No, but you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I think it's the best opening to an arc in.
Oh yeah,
anything I've ever seen, to be honest.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, the way the tone shift was dramatic, like. It's never been as quiet, somber, kind of reflective, contemplative, all in one as it's been in that episode. That episode just opened amazing. But you know why that is? Because, you know, I said this, you know, we only got stuff about the Joy Patriots in flashbacks, and then you piece it together, and then you see the culmination, which is Gintoki beheading Shoyo. But we've been following the Shinsengumi throughout all the escapades in real time. And now they're in the position... almost the same position where they've lost purpose, just like, you know, Oboro was saying, oh, these kids have lost purpose now that Shoei is gone. So now you finally get to experience that shit in real time. You know, that's problem in real time. And you're thinking, where do they go? And you're wondering, what's the right decision, you know? Hijikata's deliberating over, should he save Kondo? Should they survive and move on? And what should they do? And that was the moment where you're thinking, damn, I don't know what's going to happen, but you know, this is the moment where we decide, and the turning point for the show, I think, was that episode. So that's why I like that.
That's exactly why I thought Kondo was actually dead, because he had Gintoki, exactly what you just said is what Gintoki told Hijikata, you know, like, and also his Gintoki was the last person to talk to Kondo. Because basically saying like I understand, they had like this mutual understanding, even though at the end like he was shocked that it was actually going to happen, but he had like the underlying themes. I thought it was wonderful that Gintoki was the last one. If Kondo would have died right there, and Gintoki was the last one to give him that speech, Jesus man, I would have been in tears if it actually went down.
Exactly, man. Yeah.
And if that would have happened, and Kondo would have died right there, I might not have been doing this. I might just drop the series as a whole. Just fuck it.
Yeah. Facts.
You know, for me, that moment was where truly that Hijikata and Gintoki, and there's always been that theme that they're very similar. Even though they're very different, they're actually very similar to each other. and that was the moment where I thought, you know what, Gintoki and Hijikata are finally sort of equals in each other's eyes, either ideologically or through experience. That they both now suffered the similar situation. That they're both equals, perfect equals in that moment, and I think that was like a great arc for Gintoki. Like even from the first episode when Gintoki's fighting on the roof with Hijikata, they cross swords, and Hijikata has that moment from the first episode that they're very similar to each other. Even though I'm chasing him and fighting him and all that stuff, and that all the way to that moment in 308 is just like the perfect arc for me, like between their relationship, as characters.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Another thing to just the 308 as an episode, right before the opening plays, is one of my most rewatched scenes in the entire series. It has like a really beautiful, somber, Metal Gear Solid-esque funeral, and it's so good because almost no words are actually no words are exchanged, and it's straight up just pictures are louder than words, and it was beautiful.
It's like saluting the boss's grave, yeah. It's that kind of moment. Yeah, exactly. But even the foreshadowing from can I just say Kagura's funeral arc, they give Kagura Soyo gives Kagura or pays for that kind of funeral, and that's almost exactly the same sort. It probably is. The ceremony is probably the same. So that ceremony, they show you that sort of ceremony before you actually see that ceremony in 308. So that's sort of, I guess, foreshadowing to the funeral of a big character, and how Kagura's one with a troll. But it followed up with literally a funeral for a pivotal character in the show.
I mean, she wasn't on a conveyor belt like Kagura.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I just mean that they show you that imagery, that procession, that grand imagery before you finally actually get into the essay.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a comedy arc, but I was almost in tears watching that. Man. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, man. Same for me, man. Yeah.
When Gin was hitting the wall, like saying that he couldn't say anything, dude, I was almost in tears, yo.
First time, when he did like 3 times, I was like, it's funny now, but
yeah. God, that's just Sunrise at their best, honestly, man. I love that stuff. So good.
Yeah.
In that arc, you don't know whether to laugh or to cry. That was one of the arcs where I can say that you didn't want to laugh because it was such a funny scenario. But I had such affection for that character. It literally flipped on a dime. It went from really depressing to really hilarious and really funny. That one was probably the most consistent arc between serious and funny. That one.
Yo guys, I'm just gonna get a drink real quick. My throat's really dry.
No,
that one.
Man, but yeah, definitely the just going off of what you were saying earlier too. Like every single time I think back to that line where Gintoki said that he can't stop having nightmares, and he told Ichikata, he's like, because Ichikata was having nightmares about it too, and he was like, man, I understand you, man. You described it perfectly, like the character arc, but the relationship arc between him and Gintoki, that lasted all the way from the first time they clashed swords all the way up until now. It was so good, so well done, and it culminated in that one panel in chapter 551, also a 316, whenever they switched each other's bowls and they just laugh. Oh.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Yeah, because really, like, these external factors don't matter when really their ideologies are so similar. Their loyalties and their beliefs and their samurai way is basically so similar, and they were able to have that moment, man, which is brilliant. And that moment was jokes. Where they're laughing. Do you know, for me, them laughing together, and you very, very rarely see sincere laughs together between these characters, and that was a really heartfelt moment, man. Honestly.
Yeah, to me, I actually I made this a tweet a long time ago. I said, a regular person who doesn't know what Gintama is would have looked at this and would have thought it was a funny scene, but it really is one of the most, at least for me, one of the saddest panels in the entire series.
Exactly.
Especially after knowing what happens after, and you're like, man, God, the first time I saw that panel, I just teared up. I was like, dude, this is actually happening.
Yeah, I've never seen the Shinsengumi so humble. They've always got so much energy, but you feel so bad for them because they've lost something. So they've literally lost something there, and they're not the same Shinsengumi. They will never be the same, even if they come back or reform and all that kind of thing. But I think that's why I feel as though there's hope for me, and why I'm so excited for the future. Because obviously you've read ahead in the manga, but from my perspective as anime only, I just feel as though this is the liberating moment for these guys. I think now that they're all survived, and they're there, they can do a lot more now, and they're on the opposite side of the law. Rather than being the policemen, they are now on the side of the law where Gintoki and Zura and all these guys were. So.
Yeah, it's just the way Sriracha did it was brilliant. God, it's so good.
And now Kondo's got the scar, man. That's the great sort of, I wouldn't say accessory to him, but Kondo is like, he's graduating to the school of hard knocks now. He's got that scar across his face. So.
Heck yeah! Oh man, dude, that panel was done so well in the anime. Whenever because he gets up and whenever him and Hijikata both hit Oboro at the same time, God, because they're both smiling. It's like exactly. we're together again.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh man, that's great. Is when they're smiling and stuff and they both crying.
Yeah. God, that panel is so well drawn, man.
Right, let's not forget fight Shinsengumi, man.
Fight! Shinsengumi! And you see Kondo in the flashback. Go!
Yeah.
Man, let's go, man. So, what were you guys talking about just now? Just so I can add on.
We were talking about the moment between Gintoki and Hijikata switching bowls, man. You get the sweet bean and the mayonnaise, That people, and Rico was saying rightly that anyone just joining at that moment thought it'd be some sort of funny moment, but there's emotional resonance in that scene because they've not shared a moment like that, man, since, they've never shared a moment like that. But they're also reminiscing of their similarities and the stuff they've lost, and it means so much. It basically sums up that arc for me. That moment between them sums up that arc, essentially.
Yeah, same here. And I remember a while back, you asked me the question, how do I feel about people who skip the comedy episodes? And I said, I was like, well, it's their loss. And this is one of those moments to where you really can't truly fully experience it unless you see the comedy. Like it's just unless you have the comedy episodes, you wouldn't get the full 100% of that moment.
Because you can make a distinguish between either slapstick comedy, but then when you see a comedy which has emotional resonance behind it, you can actually appreciate on a level which people who skip the comedy won't understand. They won't understand that this isn't just the same gag. This actually is a joke, but it has emotional weight beneath it because of the experience that these people had. So I agree, man, and I totally kind of concur that the people who miss the comedy episodes won't get it. There was a moment in the SA arc, which is a deadly serious arc for the most part, where just Hijikata's sitting down and he wants a light basically for a cigarette, and flicking just blast his face. That's a very small slapstick moment, but there's emotional resonance with that. Seeing them in the element, acting how they usually act. And you kind of breathe a sigh of relief, man, that you're back to, the Shinsengumi that you knew, and they're not in peril, and they're not getting killed, and all that stuff. So,
So you think for like 5 minutes, and you get trolled.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of trolling going on in those serious arcs, which is good. Which is it breaks you out of it. You're not just watching something like a passive person, things playing out. It breaks you out of it for a second. So there's a fourth wall break. I know it's not a literal fourth wall break, but it breaks you out of it. It reminds you that, this is Gintama we're watching. We're not just watching some flipping generic shonen where things will play out how you expect them. They break you out of it a bit. Yeah.
Man, dude, one of the panels that breaks my heart every single time I reread essay, especially because whenever I first read it, I was like, God, I hope this doesn't mean something later on. It's the panel whenever they say it's the Shinsengumi's first and last request, and they're looking back, and I'm like, God, I have a bad feeling about this, man.
Exactly.
I really do.
For the right reason, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, see, I was about to say something. I lost my train of thought.
You should have wrote down some talking points.
I was gonna say, I came unprepared, man. I'm not gonna lie, but I was gonna say, you were saying like how it doesn't play out how most shonens do. Like when they troll all these moments, it's kind of like when you're watching a serious arc, you see something that's about to hit you hard, but you expect it to be a troll. So like when Shige died, you're thinking, at first, like, no, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Then when actually you realise he is actually dead,
yeah,
it hits you even harder than it would in like a regular
exactly.
show.
And you know what? The way they handled Shige's death was just amazing. It was so subtle. It was so subtle, and it reminded me of the gangster movies you watch. You know, the gangster mafia movies where some dudes, It was so well handled. That death was that was like probably one of the greatest deaths of a character, man, ever. Like the way they handle it, the backstab by his own man. You know, what's that film? That Pacino film, where he's trying to basically, Scarface, the other one, where he's trying to get out of the business, but right at the end he gets killed by some little chump that he had beef with. Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, that film. It reminded me of that. You had all that threat, all that peril throughout that arc. You thought at any moment right now he could be fucking dead with all the people out there. And right at the end, where he's literally shaking hands with allies, the guy gets done. And that was such a beautiful moment. That was like up there, man, with like deaths in fiction, and it was done so subtly, especially for a character like him. So.
That's another reason why I love SA so much, because it ends right where it begins, and with the exact thing that he preached in the beginning of the arc is what killed him in the end. It's just like I love you, Sorachi, man. I truly do. God,
Shige, man. Like for me, he was just exactly. Sorachi, man. Like the way he can do. I always wondered. I always say this in my reactions that, like, where does this comedy come from? Like some of the slapstick stuff, the scenarios are unbelievable. Like it's like he's had a day where he's like, you know what, I'm feeling a funny mood today. I'm gonna do some crazy funny shit, and then next minute,
screwdrivers and shit.
Exactly. and then next minute he's like so like reflective, and he's framed something so well and so profound that you wonder, man. Like this guy, you want to pick his brain about stuff. You want a conversation about him, which is why I hate that he's so reclusive. He's so damn reclusive. Like. Has anyone seen a picture of him? I've never seen a picture.
There's one, I think, on Google, isn't there? But I don't know if it's legit or not.
Yeah.
There is like one.
I only know him as the gorilla.
Gorilla, exactly. A cheesecake, a cheeseburger. He could be anything.
Even when he goes, like, you see like the festivals they do and stuff, when they get all the actors and the singers there and stuff, the Gintama ones. I don't know exactly Sorachi, but they bring him out in the gorilla suit. I don't know if it's actually him under there, obviously, but he comes out. He doesn't come out in his normal clothes. He comes as a gorilla. That's who he is.
He must have rolled a real gorilla out from the zoo or something and say so.
They bring out Harambe or something.
Yeah.
No, shit. I said something else. I'm not gonna. I keep forgetting all this shit. Oh man, what
You lost your train of thought.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The one question that when I said before we went on air, there's one question I got to ask Moin.
Yeah.
That I never thought I'd have to ask any Gintama fan ever.
Alright.
But I got to ask Moin. I can't believe I'm going to say this. Please tell me that Gintoki is in your top 10.
In my top 10? Oh no, he's definitely in my top 10. But I don't think that says much for you guys.
Right. Your top 5.
You know what? Do you want to know my review's gonna go up? But do you want to know my top 6? Like,
if you're gonna say it in your review, then keep it for that.
Alright, I'll keep it for that. But I don't know. I think he's definitely in my top 10. I don't know where he is in my top 10 right now, but he's definitely not in my top 6. That's all I'll tell you.
Oh my god!
Is it? Do you know?
I'll say this. I'll say this as a person who has Gintoki as his number 1. I'll say this. When it comes to the whole Gintoki having him like so high up on your characters list, it really does depend on the person. Just like everything does, but especially when it comes to Gintoki, because there you might have seen either something similar or something that just impacted you more from another character that you just loved, and it resonated more with another character. So I can definitely understand why you would have especially 6 others in this medium that has so many amazing characters from all different types of genres and demographics. So I can definitely see 6 other characters that you could have.
You know, the best way I can say why he's not so high up is actually praise for the show, because I don't see Gintama as a show about one character. I wouldn't talk about it the same way I talk about One Piece, which is, or Naruto or something, where it's basically a Jesus figure and everyone revolves around that Jesus figure. I don't see Gintama as a anime that focuses on one character and is about one character. So in a way, that's actually, from me, from my perspective, that's praise for the anime. And I think for me, it's not indicative of whether I think Gintoki is good or bad. I just feel as though this show does so well at developing other characters to the point where you could have him, you could basically not even have the MC at number 1 and it wouldn't matter, because everyone might agree that, you know what, I can see why this character would be 1 or this character would be 2. And I have a joke number 1, but I have a legit number 1 as well. Like, you know my joke number 1, Daniel. Yeah? Actually, bring this up. Hata. It's like I'm the only guy repping Hata, yeah. But what do you guys think of Hata? Like,
he's fun.
He's the strongest character in the show.
You know, Recon said that he doesn't dislike any characters, but what are your thoughts on Hata? When you first saw him 4-3, like early Gintama, what were your opinions of him?
I thought he was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
I love comedic villains, which is why I like my 2 favorite series are Gintama and One Piece, because those are the ones I have them the most.
Yeah.
And oh god, when I remember seeing Hata, I was like, yo, I hope this guy is the show's final villain, man, because how funny would it be? How funny would it be of having like all these serious villains, and then the final one is Prince Hata? It would be beautiful. It would be beautiful.
Exactly, Daniel, man. Recon knows, man. Recon knows.
Nah, it's not gonna happen, man. There's no
I feel as though it's been me, myself, and I about Hata. Like, I felt as though I was the only guy repping him. I know he was very, like, he doesn't appear in the show much. He doesn't have much connection to some of the serious stuff. I've always thought the comedy. We all agree that Gintama is the comedy. If you don't like the comedy, you shouldn't get into it. Like, it's the core of it is the comedy. So if I love something about the comedy of it, like, you know, it makes sense, complete sense. You know, Kondo became my favorite because of the comedy. Then later I grew to love him even more because of the serious stuff. But most of these characters we started loving because of the comedy. Now, just because Hata hasn't been carried on doesn't mean that, you know, I didn't love him. Look how many people love Takasugi and he was barely in the show. Hata might have actually been in the show as much as Takasugi, if not more. So look at the polls, isn't it? Yeah.
Up until like SA.
Yeah, up until SA.
My voice sounded really weird though.
Yeah. But man, Takasugi, man, he shot up for me, man. He was like for minus figures for me.
Surprised, man. I saw you say on, I think it was on Facebook, when you were talking to someone about sugar assassination. You said that Takasugi could be hiding Gintoki, man. I couldn't believe it.
But you know,
you want to know what, Dan? I can see that though, because in the way that the anime, well, it was like this in the manga too, but the anime really pushed home on Takasugi, man. Like after seeing it, I was like, yeah, now I know why I have Takasugi so high. Like what we were watching in the anime really was a reminder too. The anime did oh god, for making you feel for Takasugi, dude. Gosh.
Yeah, exactly. What they did with that guy was just chalk and cheese, like the transformation in my perception of him. But you know, I project a lot of myself onto the morality. Like my moral morality, I kind of project onto some characters. Some people I like. Madao I respect because I don't like elites. You know, like Isaburo. I don't like those elitist type characters. So Madao is like an underdog constantly. Yeah, exactly. So with Takasugi, I can understand why he'd be disenfranchised, jaded, and completely like angry and bitter now. Now I understand why he schemes, and I wanted to know why he lost his eye. And you know the way they explained the eye stuff, but then it wasn't just him losing an eye. The last thing he flipped saw was Gintoki, and then that moment where the tear sheds from Gintoki's eyes says everything. That's etched into his brain as the last thing that he saw. So I love that. I love all that development they did in such a short space of time for Takasugi. And you know what? He got my respect. You know, they pushed on that because up until then we were with Gintoki. You know, when he was taking on Takasugi, and in the heat of battle, you find that out, and that flips everything. For me, it just flipped everything on its head. And I was like, okay, well, this isn't what I thought it was. You know, I've been hating on this guy. Now I get it. You know.
I felt like, I mean, I don't like Recon and Boggy will probably, I don't know if you agree, but you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, in the manga, I felt, because when I read it for the first time, I was kind of like, when I was reading it, I was like, okay, I was saying I think Gin is probably like my favorite, because I'm a Kondo fanboy at heart. Like, Kondo is my number one, it always will be.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, I think Gin is. I was on such a Gintoki high that I've never been that high on him before. As much as I love him, and I felt like they really focused on. Obviously, they had a lot of development for Shinsuke. Like it was the same in the anime, obviously, but I feel like they concentrated on Gin more during that fight. But in the anime, I feel like they kind of focused more on Shinsuke.
Yeah.
I feel like he was the one who got like put over more. But in manga, it was the same content, like nothing changed. I don't know, maybe like the music or something. I don't know why it's different, but it just felt like in the anime it was more focused on Shinsuke and the manga is more focused on Gin. You know, it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
See, like for me, my top 5 all-time favorite characters, like other than Gintoki, all the other ones are villains, right? And either villains or the rival to the main character. And with Takatsuki being the main focus, Takatsuki was my favorite character until chapter 519. And with Takatsuki being the focus, and with basically focusing so hard on him and showing Gintoki on the other side, when I saw Gintoki do what he did, it added that level of okay, I love so many of these villains because I understand what they had to do, but they were misunderstood. And Gintoki's aspect, it was I understand why he did it, and I understand why Takatsuki hates, like why he hates him but wants to love him. And then 520 just solidified it even more. And I was like, nah, I gotta have Gintoki that high, because Gintoki was portrayed in that flashback as like Takatsuki was supposed to be the main character. And like it was beautiful, and that's always been the thing that I love about anime and manga, is how you can really perceive the gray and morality. And I was like, dude, that's why Gintoki's my number 1, because he could have been Takatsuki. Takatsuki could have been him, and I loved it. Yeah, it was beautiful.
I mean,
no, sorry, come on.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, like, if it's any consolation, I think it's not Gintama's fault that Gintoki isn't a number 1. No main character of any anime I've ever watched has become my top 5. Edward Elric's not my number 1. Naruto's not my number 1. Luffy's not my number. Like, Gon's not my number 1. Yeah, like the MCs are rarely ever my favorite characters. Probably not even my top 5 characters. So I don't think it's indicative of Gintama. I just feel like he's in my top 10 for sure. But there's other characters I maybe resonate with more than Gintoki because of their arcs in the show. So. And I
definitely respect that. Definitely, because Gintoki, before Gintoki, the highest one for me was Ichigo, and that's because he looks kind of like my teenage hero for Ichigo. And then Gintoki is, I think, if I were to make a top 5 right now, he is the only main character in the top 5.
Oh wow, damn! No, not to say people don't like when people say, "Oh, he's not your top 5." Like, I've got a lot good to say about Gintoki. It gave me so much clarity on his character, and I think he's the most rewatchable character. If you rewatch Gintama all again, his entire flipping journey through that show will be made. Maybe I have to watch it again and to get a better appreciation of everything that I know now. I think that's the case, because you can watch Gintama again and again and get something each time. So maybe that's the case. Because you guys have obviously, Daniel, you rewatch with me. Rewatch. Yeah, reread chapters, that kind of thing. Maybe that sort of thing has got you a huge appreciation for Gintoki. I like Gintoki. I don't dislike him by any means. I actually really, really love him. So, but he's just not. I love other characters more. That's all it is.
Well, yeah, I think I see that. I mean, I think
your first.
I usually say to people, like, if Gin's not your number 1, then, because obviously he's my number 2, and Connor's my number 1. So I always feel like, okay, if Gin's your number 3, then the top 2 have to be like, they really have that connection with it. You feel like you have the connection with the character.
Oh yeah,
like,
the top 2. You'll be happy with my top 2. Yeah.
Let's put it this way: like, if I'm watching, like, when I watch, like, well, SA, when I read that for the first time, obviously, I mean, I was like speechless. But when I read FS, although I enjoyed SA as a whole more, some of the moments in FS I just enjoyed more because I was like, I feel like I had that connection with Kondo. It was kind of like obviously there are tons of fans of Kondo in like everything. Who doesn't like Kondo if you like Gintama? But I kind of felt like it was like kind of special to me. I was like, because I'm such a big fan. I don't know, because I mean, I'm not. when I say I relate to Kondo, I don't mean I'm not stalker or anything, obviously, but you know, I like his like comedy the most, and I kind of appreciate him as, although he's very out there with, I mean, like all the characters are, I kind of feel like he is one of the most down to earth characters. Like you saw in 308 when he was sharing a drink with Gintoki, like he was so. I feel like he was a real respectful, and he was just like.
Yeah, no, I agree. Kondo's really high up on my list. I mean, you know, like Kondo's in my top 6. I'll tell you that. So you know, you can probably agree with me. Like,
he's number one.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wasn't in your top 6, then you might not even be in the hangout anymore. But
no, I agree, because he's a masculine character. Obviously, he's a very masculine character, but he's like the atypical man, the big, dumb, goofy male character. But because of these flaws that you really appreciate him. You know, he's just a dude, man. And at the end of the day, he's got his commitments, he's got his honor, all that stuff. But that doesn't stop him being a man. And you know, some men can just be lazy or have their little, you know, quirks and that kind of thing. So he's relatable. That's the same reason why I like Madara. Like, you know, everyone can be a Madara, exactly. So everyone can reach that point. I've seen Gintoki in Gintama arc. The guy was upside down in his boxes in a trash heap. So you know, he reached that point where Madara usually reaches. So everyone can, you know, be a Madara. So he's relatable. So that's why I like him.
I love Kondo so much.
Oh man, who doesn't love Kondo? It's great. Like, I feel like that's one of the things about Gintama. Like, on the top of my head, I can't really think of, when I say a perfect character, I mean like they are themselves like perfect. They don't have any flaws and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's one thing that they do in a lot of other series. Like, you know, you look at a character and you think that what's wrong? There's nothing wrong with this person. They are like, you would love to be this person. But everyone in Gintama, I mean, at least all of the like protagonists, they're kind of, although they are exaggerated, obviously, they at heart they are still a relatable character to someone.
Yeah. You know what?
You know.
Yeah. You know, for me, like this might be weird. Yeah, this might be weird, but in Gintama, for me, there's villains I really like, and other villains I don't. But you know, Shinsengumi Crisis, Ito as a villain, like his character was so uniquely written. Like he thought he was the smartest guy in the room, but in a way that alienated him from everyone else because he looked down on them. But really, at the end of that, he really wanted to make connections with people. So that, for me, that was one of the best written villains. You know, even though people don't remember him because he's very far back in 4-3, I thought Ito was a really, really good villain, and it also ties into Shinsengumi about their bonds and all that kind of stuff. So I thought this is a little throwaway line that I wanted to say, that, you know, Ito was a perfect villain, like probably one of the more perfect written villains from
he's a really, I'd definitely say out of all the, well, I'll say out of all the one arc characters in general, I'd say he's one of the best written. I don't think he's the best written out of all of the one arc characters, but top 3, I'd say.
For me, Jiraiya I didn't feel Jiraiya was as well written, because you know how his logic was kind of obscure. Obviously, he was slightly demented in that arc, you know, because he'd been scarred. But I felt you really liked that arc. I know you were saying you really liked Red Spider arc. I think you might have said you liked
me too.
Yeah, you liked it more than Yoshiwara. Is that what you said, Daniel?
Just.
Daniel, I think we're pretty much like, Yoshiwara has a lot of nostalgia for me, but I don't know, man. I think it's episode 180. Episode 180 just a wee bit, just a wee bit. Like, oh god, Red Spider is so awesome.
I think that's what put it above Yoshiwara for me. That just that flashback.
Because Yoshiwara used to be before I caught up, of course. Yoshiwara used to be my favorite, I look at that arc with so much nostalgia, but now looking back on it, man, Red Spider, dude, it's that 180.
Yeah.
I don't really get that much nostalgia from Yoshiwara, to be honest. I get a
lot of nostalgia from Yoshiwara. That's some memorable moments. Like,
I think I get the most from probably Shinsengumi Crisis.
Yeah.
That's really nostalgic. Like, oh man, that was my favorite arc.
I like Yoshiwara and Red Spider arc the same, but half it's cool.
Yeah, as good as each other.
Yeah,
I like Yoshiwara probably a little bit better.
Yeah,
I mean, they're both great.
Red Spider was like a logical extension of Yoshiwara with the power vacuum after Night King died. Yeah. But like, I feel as though Yoshiwara was like a complete package, if you understand what I mean. Even if Red Spider didn't happen, I would have been completely content with what Yoshiwara accomplished. And the introduction of Kamui, the development for Kagura, Shinpachi had that moment of Buto, was an amazing character. There's so much lore in Yoshiwara. It was so dense, the arc. It was as dense as Courtesan for me. The two dense arcs for me were Yoshiwara and Courtesan, as far as the early arcs go.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, like it's just a little side note. Every single time that I try to recommend someone Gintama, they'll be enjoying it and they'll watch it. But the moment they finish Yoshiwara, I notice that a lot of people pick up the pace, and a lot of people just can't wait to get to the next serious arc. Even though they'll love like the character arcs and the comedy arcs and the single one-shot episodes, but it's like after Yoshiwara, they really want to know what happens next in the actual the actual story.
Yeah, I've got a perfect example of that, man. It's a little bit off topic, but last year or so, I was talking to this guy who sat next to me in class, and I had no idea that he'd seen Gintama for like all these years. But he told me he'd seen it, and I said, like, he stopped quite early on. I told him he's got to get back on the greatness. So 2 weeks later, he's at Yoshiwara, and he's going like 10 episodes a day. And I'm like, what's going on here?
I'm telling you, it's a drug. It's a drug after a certain point.
Yeah,
I think Yoshiwara, like, that's where people start really investing in, like, games.
Yoshiwara is a really action-heavy arc, though. It's got a lot of action, like very dense action. Maybe at that point they maybe get more invested in it on the promise of it, but then they start getting more into the show.
I think that like Yoshiwara is. I think it is like definitely one of the better arcs in Gintama, but it doesn't feel like a Gintama arc, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
But if it was like an arc that maybe being like, I don't know, any other shonen, not Gintama.
Yeah.
I think it's because there is so much action in it. Like even in SA, there's like a lot of action, but the fights are like really short.
Yeah.
Apart from Gin and Shinsuke, that's obviously a long fight, but Struggle and Kamui is like what? 90 seconds.
You know why? Yeah, Yoshiwara is so high for me because the moment Gintama clicked for me is when I watched the Omibozu arc, and we got to find out more about Yato and their culture and how their system works. Because that was the moment that clicked for me when Yoshiwara came. That was a very Yato-centric arc for me, and that developed even more. There's such an interesting species, and they've got this very I hate to make the Star Trek comparison. They're very Klingon-esque, just like Tama, I said, is like a Vulcan. They have this really weird code. They don't live by this, same standards that humans and that kind of do. They've got patricide elements, social Darwinism stuff. I thought that was a really interesting look at, their power structure, the Yato power structure and how they are, and Kamui and everything, man. It was amazing.
Oh, just in case I didn't realize, you can be back. Kim be back in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, but so I was gonna say you're a big fan of like the Yato stuff.
Yeah, I love Kamui's appearance in Yoshiwara. Like he shot up. He was in my top 10 when I watched Yoshiwara. He's kind of moved down now since since other characters have been introduced. But Kamui was definitely in my top 10 after I watched that. He was just made an impression on me, and they were talked about him in Omibozu a bit, the brother and all that. And I wanted to know more about him. So.
Well, I won't say anything, but that's kind of interesting. You like the Yato bit, Mel. Maybe you should read the manga. I'm just saying. I
have faith that the anime will come back. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I saw that hairline recall. I saw that.
Hey, you saw it.
I saw it.
Now going back, I just wanted to give it an insight on Yoshiwara. Like I've been reading a lot of like my main thing is Jump manga. Like it just has a special place in my heart, right?
Yeah.
And every single Jump manga has like that one arc where it's like the coolest kid in school until a new good arc comes. So like I'll put it to this like the Frieza saga, Alabasta, Soul Society. freaking tuning exams. Like these arcs are really, really well known, and people know them as being like the first, like pretty much the consensus is whenever they really fell in love with the story.
Yeah.
And for me, Yoshiwara was the coolest kid in school until I got to Shogun Assassination. It was just like if you didn't like it, whenever you got to Yoshiwara, I don't know why you're watching the story, because it was just the coolest kid.
Yeah.
Everyone loved it. Everyone wanted to talk about it. Everybody wanted to beat it. You know, it's just the way it was.
Yeah, see, I was never like that. But I was always like that with Shinsengumi Crisis, but I think that's because, like, you know, the Shinsengumi. I mean, in case anyone hasn't seen my last hangout that I did, I won't say, but the 3 main Shinsengumi guys, they're all in like my top 5. So
top 5, yeah.
So I think it's not necessarily like, I know Shinsengumi Crisis, I think is a really well written arc and stuff. I know it's not the best written arc. I don't know if I'd even put it in the top 5 best written on the top of my head. But I think I'd maybe like 5th, but it would get higher than that on my list, I think. But anyway, I think.
You know, I really disliked the Shinsengumi up until Crisis. I'm sorry, Mitsuba.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
I really did.
Yeah, you shit talk the whole time.
People would fucking just go in on me in my comments, like, because you know why? Up until then, I thought, you know what? These guys are cops. Yeah, these guys are cops, but they're bungling things up, and they're getting in the way of Gintoki and everyone, you know, that I invested in Zura and all these guys. I really liked Zura in the beginning. Zura just plummeted a lot throughout the series.
I remember you saying, man. I remember when you said that when you first saw Couchman. I was like, oh man, he's gonna be a Couchman fanboy, and you were like, you know what's happening to Zura, man? He's turning a joke. I was like, oh shit, he's gonna hate him.
yeah, but they grew up in that. Yeah. You know, Sogo got that 2-part. I think it was a single episode or 2 episode where that murder that he was.
186, 187.
Yeah. That was that. Sogo was. I like Sogo after that. I really, of all the Shinsengumi, Sogo was the last one that I disliked. I loved everyone. Hijigata, Kondo, even Miyazaki. Yamazaki. I liked, and Sogo was the one outlier. And then Sogo's flashback episodes and all that stuff happened, and I was like, you know what? He's great, man. He's fantastic. And that Soul episode, the Soul homage episode, I love that episode, that troll episode.
When I watched that, I kind of knew that it was going to be the tuber.
I know exactly how you feel.
It still feels, man, because just saying like the Bond is like shit. I mean, this is like foreshadowing.
Yeah. Daniel, I know exactly how you feel when it comes to Shinsengumi Crisis, because that's the way I feel about Mitsuba. Like I have a really strong emotional connection to that Mitsuba arc. Like, it's something to where I can't even explain it. It's something I love so much.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Oh man, it's great, man. I've watched that a lot. I've rewatched that death scene. Oh man, I don't know how many times.
I teared up in that, man. That was heartbreaking.
Yeah, that was the first time I teared up, yo. And then it was followed by billions of other times, but yeah, that was the first time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I actually cried in the Hashida. You know, baby. You know that meme. Now that meme has been created about the Hashida baby, the one that looks like Gintoki.
Yeah.
That was the first time I cried in Gintama. Like that moment on the top of the roof where she's speaking to her grandfather. I was in tears, man.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was greatness.
Yeah, that was a landmark for me, man. That was a really good. Yeah.
I was gonna say there was the one with I always forget the name. There was the one with the old guy and the dog, and they were like fighting over.
Oh yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. That was unique. I've never seen Gintama do something like that. That was like weird. That was one of the most unique arcs for me in
comedy to feels.
That arc actually has it is actually so unique that I know a lot of people that aren't even caught up to Gintama, and they'll recognize that arc right on the spot for being Gintama.
Yeah,
it's God, it's so good. And I went into it. It's just that's something I really love about Gintama. You enter an episode, you never know what you're gonna get, and that was one of those special occasions, man.
And I don't even remember that arc for any main character at all. I only remember it for the moments between the old dude and the dog. Yeah. And that was why it was so unique. Because it's memorable for just those 2 characters that just appear in that particular arc. And that's why that was just an amazing arc.
Yeah,
only 2 episodes,
totally agree, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Man. That's the thing, like, I know my brother's watching this at the moment. I just saw him comment. I know he's going to disagree with this, but like the thing is with Gintama, that it does like different shows. I'm not I'm not bashing like other shows. I'm just saying like if I give you an example like One Piece, right? I mean the arcs are like pretty long. Some of them, I know some of them are like 50 episodes, I think. But they're all like at least like 10 episodes, right? Like you get like the Mitsubishi arc for me is like probably if you count out like SA and anything past that, that's probably like the saddest arc for me.
Yeah,
and that's
same
2 episodes, and you only see her the episode before, and she dies next episode. Yeah, it's like one of the saddest scenes like I've ever seen.
Yeah. Courtesan was pretty sad as well, man. I was like,
that
ending, man.
That was actually my favorite serious episode until 305. Or no, I'm sorry, 304. My favorite serious episode was 261 for so many different reasons. But damn, that ending. Good gosh.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking
too, man.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, until 3 or 4, my favorite episode was 215, man. Takasugi and Kamui teaming up.
Oh yeah, we used to abuse those gifs.
I know. Shit, I might have to start doing that again.
A really close behind was 214 for me. I love 214. It has a really special place in my heart.
That ending with Yuujinchou and Pirako.
Oh yeah.
Chill.
That was the one time that the guy that had been set up as the villain, actually survived the arc. Like I was breathed a sigh of relief. I was like, "Fuck, is Jirocho gonna get killed off in this arc?" But he actually got off to ride off into sunset.
Let me ask you guys this: whenever you guys watch Samurai Heart, who do you think Jirocho was? Like, did you think he was related to Gintoki?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember. I don't remember that.
I didn't think he. I didn't know he was a Deva. Like I don't know that for sure. I knew he was a. I didn't assume he was one of the 4. I just thought he'd be a villain that would come from the past or something because of his age.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Whenever I saw the thing and how just the way the ending was, I was like, basically what Oboro was, I thought Jirocho was gonna be. I thought Jirocho was about to bring some Shiroyasha flashbacks to Gintoki.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think he did it in a way, like not directly, but I mean when Otose died and stuff, and he went berserk and stuff. Like I think in a way that was kind of. I mean, there wasn't any direct Shiroyasha flashback, so I think in a way that was kind of like his old awakening. I see what you mean. I mean, he would have felt that all the time with like when Shiryo got taken away and.
The interesting thing is that whole arc hinges on like infidelity, like the Jirocho leaving his wife and his daughter coming to get him, and that made it really quite interesting. And it was more intimate. I think it was more Otose focus, and we needed that for Otose's backstory and her politics with the Devas and everything. I thought that was really good because I really like Otose as a character. I really like her. You know what? I like the non-traditional females. Like for me, Catherine's hilarious. Like I mean, Catherine, Otose.
That's why I have Tama so high.
Yeah.
That's the same reason.
Exactly, and I think Catherine is like a walking contradiction. Usually these cat-eared chicks are like not middle-aged. They're really like lolly characters or really young characters, but she's like a middle-aged.
That's a good point.
Maybe there was that episode with Shinpachi where there was that girl with the cat ears.
Yeah.
And he was going to get to have sex with her and stuff, and she actually like robbed his wallet or something.
Exactly.
Dude, I don't know if you remember that. Yeah. That's like what they would usually be like, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then you get like some like I think it was at the start of I think it was in FS or was it in like Confessional, I don't remember. But there was the bit where like, oh shit, no I can't say, man. It was in the manga. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
I can't say. What am I about? That was I think it happens in Confessional as well. She's like, when everyone's lining up to talk to Tama, and she's standing there wondering. She wants all the guys to come and start talking to her, and they will just walk off and stuff like.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about in the manga, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Dude, I will say this though, because I don't know if you guys are gonna go back and reread the stuff that's probably never gonna get animated. But one of my favorite arcs that never got animated from 400 to 500, which I would definitely recommend reading. It's only 3 chapters. It's the Homeless arc.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of Madaoyo, you have to read that arc.
It's
so good. It's so good.
Homeless arc, yeah.
It's like
damn.
I'd say arguably Madow's best arc.
Yeah, like he's my third favorite character. Like I was on the fence because there's a lot of characters I love, but Homeless put him at number 3, and after rewatching a lot of like the series, he's definitely number 3. But God, I love Hasegawa so much.
Damn,
such a great character.
I'm surprised.
Loads of great arcs. I mean, like Homeless, the Guardian Spirit, man, that's great.
Yeah, Guardian Spirit too.
That's a great.
That's so good. There's an overlay. Like, it needs to get the love potion treatment.
Yeah, I agree. Because Guardian Spirit is the perfect final comedy arc. It really is.
Yeah,
and it's the best final comedy arc you could possibly have.
They'll get their, they get their stands, their personas, man.
Yeah.
You know the guy that most developed for me in the show as a comedy character was Shinpachi. You know he's always the straight guy, but I swear to God, like he became one of the funniest characters later into that show, man. You know the Ketsuna Anna arc. Who does he have to kiss? That ship basically with that part. Yeah. One of the greatest comedy moments for me in Gintama, man. That would seal him as he could be a comedy character. And do you remember there was an episode where Hijikata and Shinpachi are having a conversation where they're self-aware that they're the straight guys. They're the straight guys.
Oh yeah, episode 203.
Exactly. Yeah. Shinpachi actually definitely evolved into a really great comedy character, man, for me.
And you countdown 3, 2, 1, start clapping, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna take a minute. Yeah, I'm gonna clap, man. Cause look, man. I'm gonna clap because look. I haven't said it before. Recon, man. You're a retarded, man. I respect that, man. you remember all these numbers, man. I don't remember like any of them.
Yeah. You make Gintama fans feel inadequate with their knowledge.
I feel like I gotta step up my game, man. I'm like, what's going on? So we're talking about Shinpachi and Hijikata.
Yeah.
When they were sitting on the bench and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So I tried to take a minute because I can't think of
He's a dark horse. Like definitely Shinpachi's a dark horse character. Like he came out and developed really well throughout that show, man. Like respect to him because I didn't think much of him in the beginning. And I really thought much of Zora. Zora went down, Shinpachi went up. It's beautiful the way that this show, develops characters, and they change a lot. Yeah,
definitely. Like for me, it's really really hard because I consider them both to be the heart and soul of Gintama, the Yorozui and the Shinsengumi. And it's kind of funny because I have Gin at number 1, but yet I have the entire Shinsengumi at number 2. So it's like because I love if I could have the entire Yorozui at number 1, I would. I love them so much, but I love the Shinsengumi too, man. Like it's so hard. It's so hard for me to choose which one I like more.
Yeah.
Honestly.
If we're going to agree on one thing, I think we can agree all of them are better than Jing, yeah?
Oh, wait, than Jing?
Yeah, they're better than Jing.
Alright, yeah, okay, I'll give you that.
Sweet.
I'll give you that. Definitely not Hisoka, but yeah. Definitely not Hisoka.
Oh, yeah, Hisoka's the top. He's my 4th favorite character in fiction, man.
Is he 4th favorite character in fiction?
He's on number 4. I'll tell you my top 3. This is hard, alright? My top 3 in, well, definitely in like anime and manga. I don't know about like films and TV shows, but in anime and manga, my top 3: first Kondo, second Gin, third Takasugi. That's hard.
Where's Big Boss in this?
A big boss in video game characters maybe get kind of.
Yeah.
I was about to say, where is Big Boss?
In anime and manga, my top 3 is my top 3 Gintama characters. Then my number 4 is Hisoka.
Damn, man.
Okay.
You really hold Hisoka high up there.
Oh, I love Hisoka, but he's got the same. It's really noticeable in some scenes. He's got the same voice actor as Nobunobu.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
You really notice it in some Nobunobu scenes, man. That he sounds like that. He like it feels like watching Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah. It's the same way I feel whenever I hear like I see Takatsugi, but I hear Dio.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the other way around. I see Dio, I hear Shizuke.
Dio's so eccentric that you can only associate that voice with someone like flamboyant as Dio. Like
He's
actually. Like,
can you imagine that Dio yelling Gitoki at the top of his lungs like he did Jotaro?
Yelling Jonathan or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Dio. Yeah, that's definitely something I have to hand it to both of those voice actors, man. That was some of the best I think that was the best performance I've ever seen from two voice actors.
100%.
Yeah, it was so amazing.
Yeah, when Takasugi was punching Gintoki.
Yeah.
Oh,
so amazing.
It became a fist fight. That was so beautiful. That was when it became a fist fight. Like that's how much rage there was. Yeah, you felt it.
I felt it out of the whole fight.
Yeah.
Moment where he started punching Gil on the floor, that was
Yeah. That beat wasn't about swords anymore, man. That was like a grudge match, man. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
I felt uncomfortable watching that, and I was like, "Yo, you gotta chill, man." What?
Yeah.
like I remember my dude John said it best, because when Gintoki vs Takasugi was happening in the manga, it was at the same exact time Naruto vs Sasuke was happening, and the final fight. And we were like,
talk about trash shit.
no, but I'm saying, like, you know how many people were waiting for that for so many years. And yet, like, Gin vs Takasugi was doing pretty much the same thing, yo. But it was like, it just took it to a whole other level. It was too good.
Yeah. When Gintoki says, "I have one less back to protect," it's already way better than Naruto vs Sasuke.
That's factual. At chapter 514, when I read chapter 514 and I saw Gin and Sugi go off, I was like, all right, every single other series got surpassed. I didn't even have to reach 519. Every other series got surpassed right there. I was like, God.
No, recently actually I watched. I was watching your essay initial reaction. I would just skip to like the 519 year.
Yeah.
And I was watching it and I was like, you were saying about series that have been surpassed and stuff, and you were talking about like Bleach. No offense here. You like Bleach surpassed. I was like, whoa, Bleach surpassed. Right? Anyway, I thought I would be doing 3 now.
Yeah, because I was like, I had like the series that have always been the closest to my heart are One Piece, Bleach, Reborn. You know, a lot of these series that I've been with for so many years, Cowboy Bebop. You know, there's a lot of series that I really, really hold dear and close, and the closest that any other series got to those was JoJo's Part 7, Steel Ball Run. I hold that as like my creme de la creme. But when I got to Shogun, I was like, all right, it just trumped everything. I can no longer hold it anymore.
Yeah. You know, Bleach is interesting because for me, Bleach, like all the animes that you mentioned are fantastic, Bebop, One Piece, all stuff. But Bleach, I've actually reformed on Bleach. I used to be, there were times where I thought Bleach was just so much better than Naruto when I was watching it weekly. But I look back on Bleach, and I'm trying to think of those character moments in the show, apart from the Soul Society arc, the Save Rukia stuff. Yeah. And all I remember is the fights for Bleach. I've kind of reformed on Bleach. Like, it's not as memorable as I once. And I think I did a video on this where, you know, when the anime finished, it finished on a whimper. So most people's memory of Bleach is the really terrible arc that it finished on. So that maybe that kind of colors people's view of it. But then, if you look far back, it was actually much, much better. Even the Bounto fillers. Like, what did you think of the Bounto filler arc?
Oh man, I was so bored of it.
See, this is the thing, yo. Since
I love that
series for so. I honestly hold those fillers really near and dear because that's when I first started experimenting on. Okay, I love episodic storytelling. And then I remember Bebop, I was like, okay, I love this. And then like Mushishi came around and all these other series. But when I saw Gintama, I was like, this is taking what I love from Bleach and is executing it 10 times better. The episodic filler storytelling that is actually really, really entertaining. And when it gets serious, it gets serious. And that's what I used to love about Bleach.
Yeah. For me, you know, like Ishida, characters like Ishida and Bleach, that guy I could not hate more. Like, he was like one of the characters which he was like really boring and dull, but the Bounto filler arc gave me more development on that guy in a filler arc.
Yeah, good point.
Even the canon did, because of his relationship with the one that could reproduce, the Bounto that could reproduce. And I was like, it was inconsistent. I don't know. I know this is sacrilege for me to say, like, you know, me hating on Bleach and stuff. I'm reformed. Like, I was anime only. I never read the Blood War arc in the manga and all that stuff that's going on right now. But what do you think right now of Bleach? Like, as far as all the manga stuff after the anime finish goes, what do you think of that compared to the entirety of the anime parts that were covered.
See, like, I'll always have the Bleach anime. You know, for me is more entertaining than the manga, but it was my first love. Like I really liked the whole bunch of series, but Bleach was the first one where after I finished Bleach, I said I need to get something else like this. That's whenever I started watching anime online. I was like, I need to feel this again, and I think I still prefer the Bleach anime over so many different things because of that first feeling.
Yeah.
But
I agree. I was watching it week to week as well. As I said, there were moments where I was trashing on Naruto, which was actually my first love, and there was beefs going on. I was like, you know what, Bleach is flipping awesome. And I think when the Vizards came in and Espada and all that stuff was just amazing. I think maybe because I've had some distance away from the anime, which ended years ago, I feel as though I need to remember those breakout moments that I will remember forever, like I do from Gintama, from Naruto, those kind of things. And I'm always struggling to think of more than maybe 2 or 3 stand-up moments. You know, Olukura fight with the Ichigo, I remember. Soul Society arc, I remember. But Aizen, some scenes with Aizen. But more than that, it's very difficult to have those memorable moments that you think of, you know, or the Marineford moments, you know.
I see what you mean. Like for me, that's why I love opening 5, 6, and 7 because that's whenever I was even though Soul Society is my favorite arc. Whenever we were first starting off the Ironclad arc, that was like the most hype because that's when 2 episodes were coming out a week. Yeah, and it was so good, and the openings and because we were in filler for so long when the Bounty arc, and even though I enjoyed it, we actually got back to Aizen. It was the greatest thing ever for me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I was like, gosh. But yeah, I'll always Bleach will always hold a place in my heart. It always will be. That's why right now with it ending, it's tearing me apart.
Yeah. Do you think it will ever get an anime series? Like again, you know.
Okay, so there's a huge announcement happening on whenever the final chapter comes out.
Yeah.
And it just might be that. It could be your journey.
I hope so. I want an excuse to revisit that series, and I'd marathon that entire anime again. To give me a better view of it, or re-evaluate my view that I have now on it, and then continue on to the new series. Maybe a different studio would be good, you know, whatever studios are handling it.
Yeah, honestly, I would love for the same director to work on it. I think he did a good job. Noriyuki Abe, the same guy that did Yu Yu Hakusho, he did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
For Bleach.
Now, I did like the animation a lot. I thought it was generally consistent, more consistent than maybe Naruto was. For sure at that time.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait, guys, we got a question. I'm gonna leave it up to you guys, yeah. So, you know my brother, yeah, he's gonna be like shitting on Gintama and Bleach and One Piece and whatever, yeah. He wants to join the stream, are we gonna let him?
Wait, who?
My brother, Charlie.
Oh, he's a good man.
Yeah, he's a good guy, man. He loves JoJo. He's a good guy.
That's right. He loves JoJo, Ippo, and Metal Gear Solid, especially Metal Gear. Yo, Metal Gear is like that's my thing right there, man. That's my game.
Oh man, the bread and butter Metal Gear is, man. That series is flipping awesome.
Yeah, dude.
All right, Charlie.
What's your favorite Metal Gear?
Recon. If you trash on
3. Metal Gear Solid 3 is my favorite game of all time, yo. Snake Eater is my favorite game ever created.
I agree, man. Absolutely, man. That is the best.
Well, what I gotta do to get into Metal Gear? Where I gotta start?
Metal Gear Solid 1, I'd guess Metal Gear Solid 1. Play them in chronological order.
Yeah, and definitely like enjoy the experience, man. Enjoy it's such a good especially if you get to marathon.
Metal Gear Solid 1 isn't chronological first, is it? I thought it was Metal Gear Solid 3 is chronologically first, isn't it?
No, but
the release,
it's kind of like
release date.
MGS3.
Release date, yeah.
MGS3 is the Shogun assassination arc of that series. Like you have to experience 1 and 2 to fully love 3.
Yeah,
I think that's the way I look at it, at least.
I'd say right line. You should play Peace Walker before you play Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain. Though a lot of people made the mistake of not playing Peace Walker. So
Peace Walker's so good.
Peace Walkers are awesome. That is so underrated. That game.
Yeah.
Honestly,
some of my favorite quotes in all of Metal Gear and Peace Walker.
That speech at the end that what's the big boss gives, just flipping amazing.
When I opened my Recon's Outer Heaven, that was the very first thing I posted was that whole speech.
Oh wow,
Outer Heaven.
That was awesome. That speech was just amazing. That saw the sort of descent for that guy. Like you get hints of that speech that he gives to MSF, and I was like, wow, this is like the turning point for that. And then obviously we got into Ground Zeroes and yeah.
Gosh. Freaking Konami, man. We never got to see the true ending.
Exactly. They're too busy making pachinko machines now.
Dude, when I saw that, the post with I was so mad. I was like, so you can remake MGS3 with godlike graphics for pachinko, but you can't finish MGS5.
Exactly. This is where priorities. This is the priorities. You know, they make more money. Apparently, there was some gambling reform in their laws in Japan, so they really wanted to push for like pachinko and encourage younger people to come and gamble. I don't know what the reform was, but someone was telling me. But you know Konami, man. They got their priorities out of whack now.
You're fuck Konami, man. Fuck Konami.
I agree, man. 100%.
Yo, not greatness, man. Not greatness.
That judge of greatness.
Yo, if talking about, I heard you talk about your favorite Metal Gear games, right? That's not you're forgetting something, boys. You're forgetting one game.
What game?
Metal Gear Solid 2.
Oh, that was really good. I mean, for me, that was the most well-written, dense MGS, and had the best boss fights. At least as far as the series goes, I love the boss fights in.
It has for me the most. It's kind of difficult to put. It has like the most. The biggest WTF moment I think I've ever had while playing a game. Easily.
Yeah.
Like, it's in the codec conversation, right?
Yeah. Like you're in the middle of walking, you keep getting hit by the codec, and it's a different message every time. You're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
That codec conversation, right? The one right before the final boss fight. Yeah. I put above the napkin speech. That is so gold.
Oh, you know what? I don't blame you, bro.
Yeah.
It was such a good speech.
Yeah.
Especially for people who believe in stuff like that. Like I definitely do. So whenever, when I was hearing that speech, I was like, yo, this is speaking to my heart.
Yeah.
Speaking to my soul.
Same, man. Like, it's so good. I'll have to play it again soon. I missed that game.
I understood your reasoning for picking Raiden over Grey Fox in the group, by the way. I really did.
Yeah. You know, Raiden's actually really interesting in that. But people focus more on his appearance than they do his actual character and the way he's written and the way he ties into the story, Godson of Solidus, and I thought that was fucking compelling, man. Honestly, that stuff and everything about it. Yeah.
I love Raiden so much. Like, I'll admit at first I was kind of like, I want to play as Snake, you know, but Raiden is so cool. I love how like. Do you
know MGS2? What they did right was they made a mythological figure out of Snake in that game. Yeah. Like he was this legendary figure. We were watching Raiden's perspective. And Pliskin was like a mythological figure to us.
Pliskin.
Yeah. So that was a wicked subversion of the viewpoint for Solid Snake. How other people see Solid Snake rather than you playing as the reality is no match for the legend, as he says in MGS1. Yeah. But now we get to see what someone from the other side, Raiden experiencing Snake doing his shit and being badass at it and being in awe and everything. So I thought that was a brilliant twist on it.
Oh man!
I would like to counter what you were saying earlier with Charlie. I'm not going to say exactly what it was because I really would like everyone who's either watching this or who's in the call to experience Metal Gear Solid. But my favorite I'd probably say my favorite line of dialogue or my favorite conversation in the story takes place right as Snake wakes up in MGS1. He has that entire conversation with Naomi. That 8-minute conversation is probably my favorite conversation I've ever seen. It hit me so hard when he was talking about Big Boss. It hit me so hard, dude.
Yo, that's sick. Yo, I love that conversation. You're right. That's one of the best, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was so, and the way that Naomi and him just kept like one-upping each other. Oh, it was so good.
When he plays the music in the background,
yes. I think that was some of his best voice acting too.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Talking about WTF moments, I think MGS1 had the best one with Miller, man. Master Miller and the revelation. that moment was like, for me, hands down the best.
that was the Eisen moment of the story.
exactly.
mode for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my god. When Dan was playing through that, he thought that he didn't realize it was a trick. Like he said, "Wait, why are we talking to Liquid on the code?"
Because they're playing him like a damn fiddle, bro. It's the way
yeah, exactly. What did you feel about MGS5, Omar? Like, what did you feel about the way it tied up the resolution, the way it was told its story?
I loved it so much, but I could tell the reason why it's my least favorite is because I could tell that Kojima wanted to create the literally greatest game of all time, and they would not let him do it.
Yeah.
They would not let him. I could tell that it was just getting started. The game felt like it was just getting started.
Exactly.
And it started off so freaking well. And then the voice recordings that we got with him in Zero still get me to this day.
Same.
Still get me.
They were the best. Some of the best voice acting, the sound effects in the background, everything, man, was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I'd say the intro to that game is the best in any game.
Yeah. I agree. 100%.
Yeah.
But it's just everything else. Well, the gameplay's amazing.
Oh yeah.
The story.
The way they order the missions towards the end just make no sense. Like, it feels as though there's chunks missing and some things were compromised, and it does feel like unfinished game basically. And obviously Kojima was going through all those troubles.
But, it used one of the greatest soundtracks ever created, though, man. The Man Who Sold the World.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That greatness, that David Bowie greatness.
Yes.
But I have to say that I heard that a Konami executive confirms that Chapter 3 will be in like the definitive edition.
Is that? Have they confirmed it?
I don't know, but it's just what I heard. I don't know how true it is, but if it's true,
wow, it better be
out as DLC, or I'm gonna flip. I'm not buying that again.
Yeah, they better, man, because I remember seeing all the rumors about how there was supposed to be a 3, 4, 5 and an epilogue that was called Outer Heaven.
Yeah,
Outer Heaven, bro.
I know, man.
Did you see the footage for Mission 52? The Liquid Island one,
Yes.
That should have been in the game, for goodness sake, man. Like that. It was so, that would have been a new location, a third location.
Oh, true,
yeah.
What I wanted MGS5 to be was I wanted MGS5 to link directly to Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2, and Metal Gear Solid 1. Like, I wanted to see all of them, man. Sniper Wolf, we did get to see Psycho Mantis and,
Liquid.
and Liquid, but...
Yeah.
Besides that, I wanted to see them all, man. I was and Ocelot's one of my favorite characters, so of course having him in the game helps really raise my enjoyment.
Do you know, for me, the issue about Metal Gear 5 is that entire game was there to fill the plot hole that was in Metal Gear 2 about two big bosses, like conflicting codec conversations that you were getting, and people assumed that it felt like there were two big bosses, but it was never really discovered. But I'm sorry, it wasn't really explored, and now this game seeks to fill in that gap. But 52 bridges it to MGS1, obviously, with Liquid's monologue and all that stuff at the end. So I feel as though they could reshape the game, maybe make it be more coherent, and that could be one of the great games out there. It's certainly a lot better than majority of other games, from other franchises out there.
Yeah.
So it's a shame that it didn't live up to what it could have been.
It's kind of crazy how Metal Gear Solid 5 got a 10 out of 10 on a lot of these sites, and MGS3 and MGS2 and MGS1 didn't get a 10 out of 10. And like MGS4 for me is legendary, so I understand why some people give it a 10 out of 10. But like I think even though 3 is my favorite, you gotta give it a 10 out of 10 to MGS1. MGS1 was the thing that revolutionized the industry.
Exactly.
It was insane.
I think
cinematics, voice acting, everything was a jump above what had come before, man. Like everything needs to go to that.
Precisely.
You even have to have a suppressor on your gun like MGS1. That's just crazy for PS1.
Yeah.
Well,
like that and Ocarina of Time changed everything. Like, everyone wanted to be those are the coolest kids in school.
Yeah.
That the reason they give like 10 out of 10 is because from like our point of view, we'd say, well, Metal Gear Solid 5 isn't a 10 out of 10 because of how it connects like to the series and stuff. But a lot of these like reviewers play one game without playing the others. So they don't stack it up against the story and stuff like that. They play it as a single game.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
PS5 on its own is better than it is in a series.
The issue with 5 was I think not enough people had played Peace Walker and they found it quite jarring that everything was relegated to tapes. I really love the tape stuff.
Me too.
Like reading a tape after missions. But people who didn't play Peace Walker, that transition was really, really like jarring for them. And they must have criticized the game because of it.
The thing about the tapes is that they really went overboard in Phantom Pain, I think. Although there were more tapes in Peace Walker, there were also a lot more cutscenes. They didn't feel like something missing. But in Metal Gear Solid 5, it was like they turned the cutscenes into tapes instead of just adding tapes if you want more talking.
Yeah. But I feel like he had to do it because he was already on limited budgeting as it was.
Yeah.
So, but he did a phenomenal job of describing, the scenery and the way that, without even having a narrator, everything was just told perfectly through, the sounds that we got in the voice acting and everything.
Exactly.
It was great. It was really, really great. But yeah, I'm really glad that you brought up a Peace Walker though, man, because I love that game so much. And
that's my most played MGS. I played that so much. I love that game. It's so bricky that was. Moment to moment,
Greatness.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolute greatness. But yeah, so if anyone's watching this or is in this call and played Metal Gear, do it.
Yeah, man, go out and play
it, man. Dan on Metal Gear, man. He played through up to MGS1. We started it like chronologically, but he stopped after MGS1, man. He's not been playing.
Do you know what they need to do?
I'm playing Persona, and Persona's like...
They need to remaster Twin Snakes, because then that would be more accessible to people.
Remaster Metal Gear Solid 1, not Twin Snakes.
Nah, I would say just remake...
in our cutscenes, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
think MGS1 already looks like I do agree to remaster, but we need Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2 an actual
I agree.
We need them, man. They especially Metal Gear 1, bro. I want to see the conversation with Big Boss and Solid Snake so bad. I just want to see them interacting.
The hand-to-hand battles with Grey Fox. Grey Fox before he became
with Grey Fox in the minefield from.
Oh yeah,
in the minefield, bro. The legend.
Exactly.
That'd be so
exactly. Do you know what? Kojima's had years to do that. Like, think about remaking those old games, which even he doesn't look back too fondly on. But I can't believe he never thought about it. He never even talked about it.
It's not just him, though, is it? It's also Konami would say, would people want that?
Yeah. True. I mean, I guess that's true. I mean, if he had made it, they might have let him make it on PSP or Vita or something. But
Charlie, I actually talked to my cousin the other day, and he has the same. I think he has pretty much the same list that you do. He has 2 and 4 as his favorites.
Oh, great!
Because he's a huge Raiden and Solid Snake tard. So he really likes him.
Yeah, that's great. It's 2 and 4, man.
What is your favorite boss fight in Metal Gear?
Boss fight? Okay, for biased reasons, just off the story alone, it has to be the finale of 3. For me,
so good.
But gameplay wise, that's hard because when I was first playing through the Psycho Mantis mission, I was genuinely shook.
Yo, all that switching controller stuff, man. That was a landmark moment in gaming history, man. That's never been done. Literally never been done. That 4-4 breaking moment, switching chords, reading the back of your CD case, Meryl's codec. That's never been done before, man. And not again.
Against the end.
I think a lot of people overlook the Fury.
Oh yeah, that was a good one too.
Yeah,
that was
good.
Scary. The first time I played that, I was shitting bricks, man.
I really like it. The end.
Oh, the end was godlike, dude.
Yeah. Do you know what? The fear was actually good as well, because you can take that death pill, that fake death pill, it comes up to you, you wake up and shotgun him. But the fear was jokes, yeah.
You can make him die of old age. That's a good.
Yeah.
Get zombie. Wait, which one was the end? The old sniper guy.
Yeah.
Yes, the one that you can kill him with.
I did that. Remember when I played it, I did that thing where you just skip a week and he just dies.
Yeah, man.
That's what I did. That's how I beat him. I couldn't do it. So.
Oh, dude, I just thought about another one that I love. Like this fight to me was like gaming's Gintoki versus Takatsuki, and with the finale of MGS4 with the flashbacks.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Good. Those flashbacks.
The life bar
the music cues.
The life bar changes as well. For each generation.
And
Yeah.
God, and the way that it ends, you're pretty good. Ah.
Yeah, man.
And
That was insane.
MGS4, they act really slow.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
Do you know there's a moment in that fight where if Ocelot's got you in a chokehold and you just leave it, yeah, he kisses you, yeah. I saw that happen. I was like, what the fuck is going on? But that's the bromance they have, innit, at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
yeah,
it's probably because he's Big Boss's son. They did that.
yeah,
So I guess
Yeah, I can see that.
exactly.
Mhm. But yeah, man. Speaking about boss fights, I'm really, really excited and hyped for Final Fantasy 15, man. It's been 10 years, bro. 10 years.
10 years, man.
10 years.
Yeah, it better be worth the wait. I don't expect this game will be anything less than good. It has to be anything. It can't be anything less than good, and it can go wherever from there, man. Like, you know, when it comes out, and I'm excited for that as well, man.
Well, I think
Definitely.
the trailers look good.
What happened?
The trailers look good, in my opinion. So
Definitely. And just the fact that it's getting a movie as an anime.
Yeah.
Before the game, like that's
Exactly.
insane.
Exactly. I remember when Advent Children was a big deal. Now we get a supplementary CGI movie to a main like core Final Fantasy game, an anime.
Yes.
You got an Android game, a mini game that's in the game, a whole bunch of stuff, man. I think they really believe in the game, and that shows that if they believe in it and they're willing to invest that much externally from all the development stuff, then it must be good, man. If they believe that much in it, why would they ever spend it otherwise? And it flops, and then no one buys it, and then. You know, so I've got faith in that game, man. After
Very
so
good
long.
point. Mhm.
Yeah.
No doubts, man. And I feel like this is such a wonderful time for us gamers because there's so many new things coming out, and even with that, you know, the NX coming out next year, all the wonderful games coming out. I mean, my favorite first-person shooter is being remastered, Call of Duty 4. I'm super happy.
Well, if you're in the Facebook groups, there's a lot of like Yakuza coming out and stuff. People hyped about that. You see the young brands posting about it.
Yakuza, I need to finish Yakuza, man. I got that on PS3 downloaded. I just need to get through that.
I'm gonna start Yakuza soon.
Yo, you gotta get on that. You gotta get on that. But I'd say you really have to start from the first one because the story is so weird.
It is, yeah. It's very like convoluted at points.
Yeah. I still don't understand it really. I just play it just for.
Neither do I. All I know is the story about the orphanage and Kazuma Kiryu, and that's about it, man.
Kazuma Kiryu really beats him up.
I've played a lot of video games aside from wrestling is probably like my favorite form of entertainment, and I've played a lot of video games, and I never have gotten into the Persona series.
What? Oh wow! What?
Yeah.
I got in with 3. Like 3 is the good stuff.
I'm muting myself for this. What? You never got into Persona?
What?
Yeah, like I played
surprised.
it. I played it, but I've never actually gone and went through the whole series and actually invested time into the story.
So you're telling me?
It's all kind
you're telling me
Yeah.
that you have not experienced the greatness of Basic Black?
Yo, he doesn't know about
me.
I have not, man.
Black?
I have not.
Basic Black?
I have not, dude.
Oh my.
Well, you know what? You
have
can
not experienced
start with Persona 5
in a swimsuit.
Yeah, you can enter with Persona 5. Like everyone's hyped for that, and that's a standalone. So you could like start with 5 and work your way back afterwards.
I think starting with like 3 would be cool though, because then in 4 you get the references, don't you?
Yeah.
Be cool. Any of them.
Yeah.
No man, you gotta get in Persona, man. That's the I'll say that's the one reason that I'm not playing Metal Gear at the moment. Because otherwise I wouldn't be playing a story game, so I just be like, oh, fuck it, I'll just play Metal Gear. And it's because of Persona, man. Yeah, I'm not playing Metal Gear, bro. And I love that's greatness, man. Great, man. Look, when Charlie used to play, and I hadn't played it before, I used to like just like piss him off. But so like, I didn't think I thought I'd like maybe like it, but now I fucking love Persona, man. It's great.
Yeah, it holds up. It definitely holds up. Even the older games hold up quite well.
Yeah, what's your favorite one?
My favorite.
Yeah.
Persona. 3. I still like 3 over 4.
Really?
Sure. Actually, you know, forget that. Do you guys remember Shin Megami Tensei Lucifer's Call? That was basically a Persona game. I prefer that to 3, and I prefer 3 to 4. Go look up Lucifer's Call on PS2. That's a Persona game. With the creature, you can recruit them and turn-based stuff. So that's where it all started. Persona's formula, the new ones, came from the game that came before 3, which was Lucifer's Core. I prefer that to 3, and 3 is better than 4.
I don't think 3 is better than 4, really. I
prefer the story of 3 over 4.
I actually agree with you there, but...
Yeah.
I don't know, I do like how 4 is more upbeat than 3. 3 is kind of... I don't know, it's kind of, you know, it's a lot of dark colours.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's...
Apathy syndrome and all that stuff, weird stuff going on, nightmares, and... It was more bubbly, the 4 was. I think it was a lot more accessible to people.
Yeah.
Alright, guys, I'm gonna read some of the comments that I said I'd read at the start anyway.
Alright.
We've got a few questions here anyway. Right, so my mate Ed, yeah, he said he wants to know, each of us, what do we think is the weakest serious arc in Gintama? So he's given us a list. Benizakura, Mitsuba, Shitsuguri Crisis, Yoshiwara, Red Spider, Four Davis, Thorny, Kurtzan, Shinigami, and also the Ghost. We're saying the weakest out of all of them.
I'd say Red Spider for me.
What?
Okay. I discussed this already, man.
I don't think you say it's last though.
Or least favourite.
Well, amongst those ones, the ones he listed. Yeah, amongst the ones he listed.
Yeah, he said the 2 that we're not including is the Umibozu arc because it's kind of like in the middle.
Yeah.
And the one that comes after FS in the manga because.
Do you know what? Did he say Gintama? Because I found Gintama the weakest.
Really?
Alright, then Red Spider.
Hilarious, to be honest.
What? I have Gintama so high.
Do you know what? I felt that arc was tonally inconsistent. Like, and I didn't really like Gintama. Like, it wasn't sure if it was a comedy arc or a serious arc. I had like tonal inconsistencies with that. Generally, I liked some of the bit players in that. So I like Tama's stuff. I like Gintoki's stuff. But just tonally, I found it kind of off for me. Enjoyability wise.
I think probably the best moment in the Gintama arc is when I think it's in the first episode. It might be in the second one.
My favorite is when he pulls Gintama's nuts. Pulls out Gintama's nuts. That was my favorite moment.
I have a feeling because he's got Tama in it. I think Rico will agree. Where Gintoki gets his sword and he starts like hitting the wall and it makes the title of the episode.
Oh yeah, that was beast.
Like,
actually, yeah, that was a good moment. Yeah.
Sadaharu and Tama come and find him, and he starts like. His sword, he starts smashing the wall with it, and it makes the title of the episode.
That was fine.
Yeah, great moments. I agree. Yeah.
Like another. Besides, for me, of course, the ending of the arc. The ending of the arc for me was one of the most memorable moments for me in the entire anime.
Oh, yeah.
Another moment that I really love is whenever he's carrying Tamayo. They're just walking, and Tama's basically reassuring him, like you know what, like you're still the main character of the show, yo. Like you know what you have to do, and then after that happened, that's whenever Gintoki shows up and everyone's back to it was so amazing. I love them.
You know, Omar. I had this debate where like Gintama arc was like a celebration of Gintoki for me because it was one of the comeback arcs for that. I felt it's like a celebration. But when I watched the film Be Forever Yorozuya, I thought that was a better celebration of Gintoki as a character, as the MC, than Gintama was. So that made me kind of reflect on Gintama a bit more negatively than I would have. But I did enjoy it. I just feel as though, when there's so many great arcs in Gintama, something has to come last by default. Like, not everything can be number one. So for me, I think Gintama was good, but it was just, for me, the weakest. That's the reason.
Yeah. The reason I like Gintama so much is because when you first kind of find out they don't realise who Gin is, right?
Yeah.
It feels like they don't know who you are as a viewer, if that makes sense. It feels like everything is kind of
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
That's why I liked it a lot.
The way they established that, you can't take it like for me, I couldn't take it seriously when you establish that as a comedy arc right from the beginning, where people have forgotten who he is. So it was very difficult for you to take the serious moments seriously in the comedy arc, if you understand what I mean. It's not a serious arc with comedy moments, it's a comedy arc with serious moments. Like, if you understand.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do agree. Now, when it's a comedy arc and it has serious moments, I do find it a bit harder to kind of.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like normal though, to be honest. But then the thing is, well, you don't. This is why I didn't invite Charlie on Hangout in the first place.
What?
Now what I'm about to say, but I say like, you don't really appreciate like the serious moments in Gintama.
I do, but I just prefer the comedy. Yes.
Well, except 3 or 5. I mean, that one you were like.
I can respect that. I can respect that.
Yeah, but
all up the wall, you.
Don't know.
I'll tell you something. I'm not going to spoil obviously for Amoy.
Yeah.
But Omar and Bogdi, I'm not going to say what happened, but there was a really sad moment recently. All right, in the manga, and I know that like
chapter number.
I think it was 5-9. Oh man, it was like
591.
What was it? Okay, was it the panel, the page? I always call it the page that made me speechless for 10 minutes. The page.
Yeah, it was that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Where he walked past. Yeah, he walked past. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Charlie said I wasn't even sad. He read it in like 5 minutes and there was no emotion. When me, I was crying. Really. I was sitting next to Charlie when I was reading it, and I was trying not to cry out loud because I'd be embarrassed.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about that chapter is that I was getting messages of people saying they were crying over the spoilers. I was like, "There's no way you can cry over spoilers." and I read the chapter. I was like, "Oh no, hold on, I must have misjudged them. I really did."
For me, the reason I didn't cry about it is because it's not because of.
Well, it's chill. How do you say chill? Because Moyne's.
Yeah, I know.
Chill.
What happened is because who it happened with. Right?
Nah, let's not say anymore. I can't say anything. Because I know I'll spoil if I say something.
Yeah, what you were saying about 3 or 5? That's not my favourite serious arc. I told you this.
What's your favourite?
I know you. Yours. I know yours is Beam Saber, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Oh, it's
Beam Saber.
Now Beam Saber. Beam Saber is my 6th favourite arc.
Okay.
Isn't your favourite the arc that just ended?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's my favourite.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Arc. My favourite arc is the Shogun snowboarding.
That's whoa.
Yeah, the one.
That's a whoa opinion, man.
How is that whoa?
This is the kind of shit I have to put up with like every day, man. Saying that the Shogun snowboarding arc, I don't even know the name of, is better than the Shogun assassination arc. Yeah. Come on.
Charlie's trolling you, yeah. He's trolling you.
It's not trolling.
He said he hasn't been watching Legend Mac, but he's lying, man. He can't get this much troll without watching
that. That's a factual statement. It's like after watching Mac, you just naturally want to troll for some reason.
He trolled me bad today. This is a little like previewing, but I messaged him today and I was like, I want to do a live reading of One Piece at some point. So I was like, what chapter should I get at when I live read it, right? And he was like, he said I've got to start from chapter 1, man. I'm on chapter 151. He said I need to start again because I haven't read it for like months.
Nah,
that's trolling to a new level.
That's trolling.
No, I said
I don't know. I feel like I kind of agree, but I kind of don't. Like I'll
tell you what I said.
I understand what you're saying.
I'll tell you what I said to him. Right? I said like I really don't want to, but if you, I was like, because I know you're like One Piece tired like a heart. Yeah, I was like, if you strongly suggest it, he said like that's like the best advice you could give. It's like, all right, I'll do it because I can like get through it quicker than the anime kind of thing.
Yeah, so you'll definitely get through it quicker.
Well, I might be cool. Don't get put on the spot, but don't keep it on the spot. But I was like, I'll do it. I'll live read from chapter 1 until I don't know whenever I get bored, I guess. But you and Mac have got to join me on the hangout. You do that, yeah.
As long as it's on a day that I'm good.
Yeah, alright, cool.
So how does a live reading with multiple people work? Like you read it and then you guys comment on what page by page chapter? Like how does that work?
I can kind of just read it out as I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could just read what they're saying and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you do that with like I know it's obviously Recon you do it when you're live reacting to like a manga chapter, but like Mackenzie, you do it as well when you. I notice when you watch the anime, like you say it quietly, but you read the subtitles.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like that.
It's just a natural thing though, because I feel like whenever I say it, I process it better, you know.
Yeah, you remember it for later. It's in your head. Yeah.
I do it as well when I'm just sitting at home, like reading and stuff.
Yeah, I read the more like significant lines.
Yeah.
Not just like general chat, but if they say something like big, then I'll usually read it.
If there's something thematically relevant, like they're trying to say something through metaphors, then I try to say it back so I remember it, and they're trying to dissect it as it goes on. So, and that happens a lot in Gintama. That happens a lot in
every
Gintama.
episode.
Yeah, I can't imagine how you were when in the end of Act 3 in Metal Gear 4. Then, if you read out all the metaphors, man, I can't remember what you were like.
Well, Metal Gear 4 was kind of straightforward for me, man. Metal Gear 4? Are you sure you mean Metal Gear 4? Or you mean?
No, I mean like I don't want to say it because Dan's gonna play at some point. So
okay. Yeah.
I don't want to say.
I love that conspiracy stuff. Like, I'm generally just a fan of conspiracy stuff, which is why I like the Metal Gear Solid in general. All this politics, all this, subterfuge and espionage and all that James Bond stuff.
Regardless, my mate said.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
My mate said he wants us to talk about. He wants us to talk about episode 188, which is the one with Daigoro and like the Hasegawa, like when he writes the report on Hasegawa and stuff.
Oh my God!
The school kid. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Second favorite one-shot episode behind the Little Rain.
Yeah.
Overall.
You know what? I think I'm gonna agree with that. Man. I think.
Ah, come on. What about Madao down there?
Madao there was. I prefer the Daigoro one. Yeah, because the Daigoro.
Yeah. This is why I have that one specifically like so high. Hasegawa before that point in time, even though I understood what he was and what he stood for in Gintama, it didn't really hit home that hard until that episode.
Yeah.
That episode is when I truly started to love Hasegawa as much as I do now. And plus also the placement. The placement was pretty good after two pretty serious arcs. It was a pretty good episode.
It's kind of like
he
was like a comedy character before, but then like the actual struggle that he's going through.
Yes.
Actually, I think you kind of lose the sense of his struggle. Like when it's the comedy, you obviously know that he's struggling and stuff, but you don't really notice in a way that he's struggling.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's comedy.
But then you can take it as a comedy side, but then when you get a serious moment with Hasegawa, it doesn't feel out of place. It's like, well, he is going through a struggle. Like, he doesn't have anywhere to live and stuff. Like, of course, he has a struggle.
He's either in boxes or doghouse. That's about the.
He's the box god.
He probably gets all his letters delivered to the doghouse.
he is the box god.
He's a box god.
He lives in the kennel.
Yeah.
In the kennel, man. Go on.
Do you remember in I think it was Fort Davis where he had the box mech suit? He created some box suit. That was hilarious. That was his Iron Man armor, man.
Snake will be proud, man. Snake will be proud.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Alright, I've got you guys know Francisco still for you and the GOAT.
Oh yeah,
he's saying,
that's a good man.
He's saying, what are our thoughts on Nobume, just as a character?
She's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah.
She's.
Or he will.
Yeah. She's okay. I like her, but she's not. She's compelling in a way. I like the way that they wove her into the stuff that happened. I like the way they wove a lot of characters into some of the backstory. Like Isaburo actually goes way further back with the Shinsengumi than we thought, and she goes way further back with Shoyo's, beheading than we thought. But I don't know, man. If we'd maybe spent a bit more time with them, I'd like them. It's like we were saying that it didn't hit, Isaburo stuff and flashbacks. Yeah, so that's reflective of actually the characters involved rather than the events. I swear, if those were different characters, that would have just really, really hit a lot better.
I feel the same. I feel the same as you, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, if it was like even like I think Yamazaki or something, they'll still hit a lot harder than they did with like Saburo. Just because Saburo. Oh yes, it's not the fact that he came into the series late on, but there was like one chapter in the manga that didn't get adapted. But I mean, that's. Like
do you know the comparison I make is? Do you remember the reunion arc with the Takasugi's?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite arcs.
Yeah, they brought up a character that we never heard of, but they managed to make it hit the backstory with the explosion happening and him disappearing and being in the shadows. Now look how effective that was for a character that was just brought up there, you know. So when you think about what impact Isaburo and Nobleman stuff had, and it didn't have the same impact, then it kind of puts those characters in you know, in contrast with, you know, how they've been developed and how much you relate to them. So.
Yeah, I completely understand.
Yeah.
If you hear my cat meowing, also he's meowing like crazy. I don't know what he wants, but if you hear him. But no, I was going to say I agree to you guys. When someone's hard I agree. I just think that.
And Recon was right. It was overshadowed by people we care more about.
Yeah, exactly.
As much as like I said before, Nobume, I felt more for her than I did for Isaburo. Like, I always like. I think Nobume has one of my favorite character introductions. Whenever she just came out of nowhere and started fighting Sogo, I was like, "Well, someone on par with Sogo."
Yeah, Thorny was amazing for that, man.
Yes.
Like. Yeah,
definitely, and I've always liked Nobume ever since. I like her design. I like the way that her eyes are always dead, and I like the reason behind it. So we get the flashback and the reason behind her having dead eyes. Like that was wonderful too. I like how she's a troll, but she's like she's like Tama to me. She doesn't want, like, she doesn't mean to be funny. She just comes off as funny.
Yeah,
and I like her. She's awesome. I like Nobume.
Yeah. I can't really say. I'm going to hint at it. I can't. I mean, it's not really a spoiler, but I just don't want to say anything about the manga. But something I found interesting about Nobume, you were saying about like, I really gotta say this about saying it. You understand it, mate. Well, her appearance and stuff. You remember like straight after FS, and there was obviously like,
yes.
There was the moment with her and the others, right? They were talking. She looked a lot like. I can't say.
I know what you want to say. I know what you want to say.
I think that's really weird. I think that's. I was kind of like, wow, why is that now? I thought maybe she's like 3 now. But she wasn't. She might have not been like 3 before with like Isaburo. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I understand. I understand. Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you that some other time. I'll say that properly.
Yeah.
I really don't say anything. Oh yeah. One question. Just quick. One question I can ask you. I don't know. You might say in your review or something. If you want, you'd have to say now. But I'm expecting you to say no. I hope you say yes. But are you going to read the manga?
Oh, am I going to read the manga?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Like, here's the difficulty where you're so invested in something. You know, like everyone who watched Game of Thrones, they never read the books. They love the show because of the characters, the voice acting. So it would seem kind of sacrilegious to read it, even though the books might be gazillion times better. Now, I'm pretty sure that obviously with the OVA coming soon, the potion.
Love Potion.
Yeah, Love Potion. Yeah, that coming. That comedy, that Gintama will come back. So I want to be able to watch him without having full knowledge. So I'm not decided yet, but I'm more erring to the side of sticking with the anime only, like Ryan right now. But if I feel compelled, I'll push it, man.
I definitely can see where that comes from, because for me it's the opposite, because a lot of the times I read the manga first to a lot of things. So like there's, for example, the off the top of my head there's 2 examples I can think of. I don't think that the anime can do. I mean, I might be underestimating a lot of these studios, but it's just the voices that I had in my head for these characters, the soundtracks I had in my head while I was reading Steel Ball Run and 20th Century Boys.
Oh,
I don't know if they can replicate in the anime.
No way.
It could be really tough.
I've thought about that so many times about what the Steel Ball anime is going to be like. It's just not going to be the same. I just know it. I think that there is a clear, even with like Gintama, right? How Moynes talk about how reading the manga is sort of, you know, it's like you're kind of not abandoning the anime, but you kind of want to stick with what you started with. It's because I think that I realized this when I was reading Gintama, like for the first time. They feel a lot different. I think the manga feels a lot more. I don't want to say darker, but I can take it a lot more seriously than the anime. Because the anime, even when it is like night and stuff and it's dark, it still has quite bright colors, I think. But it's like JoJo Part 4, right? You can't take it as seriously because it's really bright and cheery and stuff. I'm not saying like SA is cheery or anything. But
that's exactly why whenever I tell people who don't really read manga like that they can read Ippo, it's because Ippo, the Ippo manga and the Ippo anime are so good. I honestly, they're both amazing. Like if whenever they do season 4, it's gonna be almost exactly the same way that I felt while I was reading the manga.
Yeah, I think they're really similar, to be honest, with Ippo. That's quite strange though to have that. I think it might just be because of the nature of the series, how it's a boxing series, so it's not like there's as much to convey in terms of the story and stuff. It's more about the characters.
Yeah.
Well, Gintama like that as well. I mean,
there's been a lot of story stuff recently with Gintama, like FS.
Yeah.
I mean, the manga is long.
I mean, I don't want to give the impression that some people say that if you really love the show and you really love it, why don't you read the manga? If you loved it, you'd read the manga. Like some people, I'm not saying you guys.
JoJo fans don't.
Some people may get that impression. I'm not saying you guys get the impression, but for me, I think if you're in the routine of routinely reading manga for a lot of things, then that's a fair statement to make. But for me, I'm not even a manga reader. Like routinely for shows that I absolutely love. I would love to keep reading 20th Century Boys if I had the time in between to really commit to it. So I think it's uniform for me. It's not about particular animes. I think if I get in the routine of it, I could actually just start reading JoJo.
I'll tell you what came from me. I'll tell you what came from me.
Wait, I can't just say I'm going to remember that quote forever. Moyne saying I could read JoJo. I'm just going to remember that in my heart forever.
You're going to hold it against me, yeah?
Hey, look, let me put it like this, yo. You might have to struggle because Part 5 doesn't have good scans, but let me tell you something. Part 6 and 7 are perfectly scanned and full in color. Fully in color.
You might agree with me. I think Part 7 is way better in black and white, to be honest.
Hey, look. Steel Ball Run, honestly, in black and white color or all in purple, it will still come out godlike. But on a serious note, when it comes to for example, I've always just been more of a manga guy, which is why whenever I see an anime that I really like, it's truly a testament. Because I'll give you a quick example. I read Monster first, right? And it was one of the most gripping, and oh man, I could not wait to flip the page almost every single time I was reading it. And whenever I went to go watch the show with my friends, even though it still was really, really good, I felt like it was better as a page turner as a book rather than a television show.
Because you've got that sense of tense kind of
precisely
controlling how fast it moves.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll admit, recently I've been becoming more of a manga reader lately, to be honest.
Yeah?
Like an anime guy. I've been becoming a manga reader, man.
I don't look down on...
Ippo and Steel Ball Run did it to you, yo.
Yeah, and I recently finished Ashita No Joe as well, and that just
nice.
Forever.
Oh, wow.
Well, I just want to take this opportunity quickly, so... Yes, Charlie, you've obviously you're caught up to JoJo Ippo, you just finished JoJo, right? Yeah. And you're caught up to Gintama as well.
Yeah.
So... Look, because I say it, I'm going to say it already. Every day I say it, right? So I've got to get Recon to say it, because I need more than one person to say it. Right. We've got to tell Charlie how badly, and he watches Monster as well, how badly do you recommend 20th Century Boys? In my wardrobe right in front of me, I have all 24 volumes.
So I'll put it to you like this, Charlie. I'm a huge Urasawa is basically my favorite mangaka from. It's difficult because I love Oda and Toriyama so much and a couple of these others, but Urasawa has delivered 3 series that are in my top 10, and 20th Century Boys is right under JoJo. The only reason why JoJo's above it is because of Steel Ball Run. It's right under JoJo. So it's like, I will say this: you can try 20th Century Boys, Monster, or Billy Bat, and you will have an amazing experience.
I'm watching Monster at the moment.
Monster.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Billy Bat is another series I would highly recommend. Billy Bat is, and it's ending, I think, next. It's in its final arc. But I'll tell you what, man, Billy Bat was one of the greatest. If you're a person who loves conspiracies, man, you know how Urasawa does it.
Yeah.
He does it.
Yeah.
Oh man, Billy Bat was his greatest.
Man, like conspiracies and stuff. That's
That's what I'm saying. Like he really delivered home in Century Boys and Billy Bat, which is why I think those are two of my favorite of the works he's done. Because dude, Century Boys is the most unique world domination plot I've ever. And it's not even about the plot of the story. It's the characters and just how Urasawa plays with the genre. Like, it's so.
Can I just say quickly, Rico? I just got to because I think you're getting hyped, but I don't know what's gonna happen. Obviously, I can't remember exactly. Anti-proton bomb, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Oh man,
dude, I'm telling you, like, you know what's a scene that like pops in my head every time I watch a movie now. And the classroom, like every time they show the classroom and it's at night, I'm like, yo, this isn't what I think it is, yo. Cause you know what we're talking about, right? Dude, it was crazy.
Like, shit, you mean like in the bit where Donkey, where you went into the feet?
Yeah. Gosh. It takes a lot to scare me, yo. Like when it comes to horror films, I don't really get scared. When it comes to horror manga, it doesn't really get me. But I'll tell you what, I've never been as paranoid as I was ever then while reading 20th Century Boys. It was like 3 in the morning, and I'm over here looking everywhere. I'm like, yo, something's about to attack me. I swear to God, something's gonna kill me.
No, when I was reading that bit in like the classroom with Donkey, I was scared reading that.
Yeah,
that's some freaky shit.
You're paranoid. You seriously are. You didn't even want to get up. You're like looking around the room, making sure that like nothing's around. It's insane. Dan, man, after Centro, you have to read Billy Bat, man. You have to, yo. Billy Bat is good.
I'll give you a plan, alright? What I'm gonna do is once I finish Century Boys tomorrow, 100% gonna finish tomorrow. I'm gonna take like a few days break, and then next week, here's what I'll read Ippo from where the stuff.
Oh, that's a great choice. Great choice.
Binge that monster.
I don't know.
That's probably the best thing you could say.
I don't know when I'll start One Piece, but soon. Like, I'll restart it.
Yeah.
And then I'll read Billy Bat as well. I'll do it.
Dude, Billy Bat, man. It's.
I'll put it this way. This is how much I love 20th Century Boys. Like, vocally, I love Gintama more, but when I'm actually reading it, it's this close to like a Gintama when I'm watching or reading it. If it wasn't for SA, 20th Century Boys would be like Gintama.
Dude, I feel you. Because if it wasn't for SA, Steel Ball Run would be my #1 favorite piece of literature.
Oh shit!
Damn you!
It was because of SA. I'm telling you.
This causes beef between Dan and Charlie afterwards. They were calling beef over afterwards.
Steel Ball Run versus Shogun Assassination is an often debated topic now. So.
Yeah, because this is the way I look at it, right? The Shogun Assassination is like the entire series culminating into like that one arc, and that's why I love it so much. But Steel Ball Run is the culmination of everything that we've gotten so far in the story.
No, wait, chill. If you're gonna say what is the culmination of, you don't want to talk about too far because then you might spoil in part 6.
Oh, okay. So, sorry, but still, but like I have part 7 as like the single greatest story. Like just as a story in of itself, I give it that title. But when it comes to like favorite, I gotta give the Shogun, man. Shogun is.
You're telling me because from an objective point of view, 20th Century Boys is the best story I've ever read. To be honest, like Gintama, I think 20th Century Boys and Gintama are just as good as each other, like from an objective point of view. Plainly, like strictly down to the story, I think 20th Century Boys is definitely better.
Okay.
That's a lot of praise from you, man. You know how much.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at like #1 and everything for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not #1, like favorite, but purely story-wise.
Well, I think everyone will agree Gintama is mainly about the characters more than the story.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because Gintama takes a lot of simple stories, but it's because the characters are so good that makes the arc so good.
Yeah. And a lot of the stories are about the characters more than the events happening around them, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And they do reference Japanese history in some kind of like indirect ways, and that structure of storytelling is very referential. So.
Yeah. And I love the way they parody, like with the Shinigami arc parodying Bleach. I like a lot of the arcs are like parodies of other stories, but yet they end up so much better. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, just going back to that, Dan, you got to think about it like this, yo. Diego Brando is right under Gintoki. Right?
Oh, Diego,
he's right under Gintoki, yo. Like it's like, I'm telling you, dude. Shogun Assassin. That's why I put it so high. That's why I say SA is the GOAT, because I never thought anything would surpass SBR. I really didn't.
SBR is the GOAT.
There was a point where SBR was your #1.
Yeah. There was a point where my holy trinity of literature was One Piece, SBR, and Metal Gear Solid. There was a point where that was the original holy trinity.
Wait, what gets knocked out?
Well, we're not going to talk about this.
No, it's the holy quartet.
All I'm going to say is that if that's a trinity, then I guess Gintama's the one above them all. I guess.
If you got the 3 wise men and Gintama like the Jesus. That's the same.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like the group is called.
No, exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Oh Lord, the Savior.
Alright, but can I at least get confirmation that Diego Brando is the hypest moment in manga?
Okay. I'll put it like this: that and 514, chapter 514 of Gintama. Yeah, no doubt.
What's 514?
With the one that Bogdy brought up earlier. I have one list back to protect.
Oh yeah.
When they finally clash. After
Alright, since you're Gintard, I can see why you'd put that.
Yeah. It was the moment I've been waiting for so long. I didn't think it was gonna happen. It actually happened.
That's like the Ippo Miyata of like Gintama.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Oh, Ippo has a lot of hype moments, man. See, I have Ippo also really high too, man. Like, God, I love Ippo so much.
You know how like everybody has like like a Precious series, like one now would always be like.
Oh yeah.
That is like Ippo for me, but it got to a point where I actually put Steel Ball Run above Ippo. Like, even though Ippo is like my so it's my Precious series, but
I thought JoJo was your Precious series. You always get angry about JoJo.
Ippo to JoJo. I think that. Also, I say Steel Ball Run is my favorite, but I think that JoJo is consistent at points. I think that when JoJo. I do think that part 5 is. I think that it has quite a weak middle, and I hate Stone Ocean has a weak middle as well.
You know what? Actually, you actually bring up a good point. Where I know this might be like a controversial opinion, but I think JoJo fans are more realistic about their show than Gintama fans are generally. I think even though Charlie finds JoJo precious, he's actually a lot more realistic generally about JoJo than I've maybe heard other Gintama fans.
I can't lie to you.
I think it's just Gintama is like perfectly serious.
I don't know, there's a lot of JoJo fans on the internet, man. There's a lot of
JoJo fans.
Well, if there are, like, direct me to them, man.
No, there are JoJo fans who are deluded, to be fair. Like, you get people who say that it's just like the best. I'm not going to say it's like the best story ever told. Steel Ball Run's the best story ever told, but JoJo as a whole isn't, I don't think.
Yeah. See, I'm
it definitely has weak moments.
I'm in the same thing as you, and actually, it's kind of funny because I have Stone Ocean right under. Like Stone Ocean, when like binging through that was such an incredible experience, and I was like, yo, this isn't gonna be top 10. Of course, what I read after was the top 10. But I love Stone Ocean. Stone Ocean. Maybe it's because I live in Florida too, and it kind of gives me like that realistic type of feel. Like this could actually happen. But it was.
Yeah,
it was
did
really
you
nice.
ever go and look out for Green Dolphin Street Prison afterwards?
Yeah, well, it doesn't exist, but Cape Canaveral does. That's for sure. It definitely does.
Well,
Oh man.
you know, I think that Stone Ocean has a really good end. Like, just the whole run-up to the end, not the actual end. The ending itself I love, but the actual run-up. Like I like Dio's world, how it's once they get to his castle, I kind of count that as the end kind of thing.
Okay.
But I think it has a really good end, but the middle, it's really Stardust Crusaders-like in the sense that it's just fight after fight after fight.
Yeah.
But I think that Stardust Crusaders has... I'm going to say his characters are on par with Part 7.
I disagree. I honestly do.
Alright,
But I do see why you would think that way.
Yeah. I think that's why. It's just because I really thought Hermes was kind of bad.
He's got Duck Magazine music, Mike.
Man, I didn't
No, what did you say? I was talking to my brother. What did you say?
Yeah, Dave.
Something about Hermes.
I said Hermes kind of sucks.
Hey, hold on, bro. I
thought you'd agree, to be honest, man.
Nah, you got it. Give me a part 3 character besides Jotaro and well, no, never mind. I was gonna say something blasphemous. I'm sorry. I was gonna say something
Go on,
blasphemous.
say it.
I was gonna say find me a character that better
Polnareff
than
is the
report.
best character, part 3.
Wait, who was?
Polnareff.
Oh, he was awesome. I love Polnareff.
Abdul was a little weak though.
But Abdul has one of the most iconic villains to me.
Yeah. No, wait. Oh, Iggy was weak.
Iggy was redemptive, man. Like, I hated Iggy, but he had more development in what, a couple episodes than maybe Jotaro did in that.
Yeah, because
Jojo was the best Crusader. Abdul second.
No, I think that old Joseph.
Abdul second? You kidding?
Nah,
I like Abdul, but let's be honest, like, there's a reason they killed him off, like, first.
100% agree. Okay, like when I first started Star Wars Crusaders, like Joseph's always my favorite because he was the only one I knew when I first started.
Yeah.
But then like I was a few episodes, I put like 10 episodes in or something, and I remember Charlie asked me like, "Alright, who says your favorite Crusader?" And I was like, I don't really know who's my favorite. And I just said Abdul was a joke, and then just since then I just like him.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I had that joke going for like so long, I just grew attached to it.
Yeah.
Like Abdul was like, man.
I'll be honest, like so far up to where I've seen, Stroheim is like really, really memorable for me, man. Stroheim, like.
Oh yeah, Stroheim was awesome.
Yeah. Some people feel that part 2 is overrated, but I still think that Stroheim is.
I feel the same way about part 2 that I feel about Gintama in a way, not in the same way, but like where part 2's strengths are in its characters. I love I love almost every single character in part 2.
The only thing about part 2 is I think that the antagonists are kind of weak. Like you get like I think Wham is a good character, but like let's say compare with part 1 since that's what came before.
Which was the one that cried? It was like this.
You get like, alright, so you get part 1, and you've got Dio, you see him as a 12-year-old, then you see him grow up, and you see his ambition and stuff, but the Pillarmen kind of just came in and just like, they said, we just want to rule the world just because we just do, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AC/DC died, like, what, episode, like, 6 or something, of Battle Tendency?
I had no idea.
True, but then some of them... There was a hierarchy there though as well. We assumed that they were all equally as, strong, but there was a hierarchy.
I mean, we find out that's not true in the end.
Momo was the strong.
Yeah.
Yo, if I still say to this day, if Cars would have had a stand, he would have been probably one of the top 3 most popular characters in the story.
If you're talking about Cars with a stand, do you know the JoJo light novels, right?
The JoJo light novels?
Yeah.
Which ones?
Well, I don't know which one, but there's like cause in case you guys don't know, right? There are a bunch of like non-canon JoJo light novels. They're like only in Japanese kind of thing, right? Except for one, all of the rest are only in Japanese. And one of them, Kai, he's got ultimate life form. He's also got like the world D4C, King Crimson, like all of the main antagonist stands as well.
What in the world? Wait. Did you say in the same statement the world and D4C?
I'm pretty sure he. Well, my friend told me about it, and I looked it up. I couldn't find much since it's only Japanese, but I'm pretty sure he's got the world and Dirty Deeds on Dirty.
The world and D4C? Are we being serious here?
I'm pretty sure he does. I'm pretty.
The only person that can beat that is John Cena. It's the only person.
Hey, we forget Balor. I forget Finn Balor.
Oh yeah, that factual. Definitely.
Well,
I wanted to ask you. Yeah, sorry. I wanted to ask you guys. You know, in part 3, like everyone remembers Dio versus everyone, like at the end.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I felt Vanilla Ice versus Polnareff was actually a better than the final fight in that. What do you guys think of?
Well,
I agree.
I just want to say quickly.
Go ahead.
I've noticed a lot on Twitter and Facebook and stuff. Like, you know how like China have like the Gintama versus JoJo kind of. Like,
yeah.
You don't want to bash JoJo on stage just to like kind of win the war kind of thing. So like, I've seen a lot of people bash JoJo versus Dio. Like, I've seen people bash them, not like heavily, but they said like they could have done this better, that better. I actually enjoyed that the fuck out of it. That's one of my favourite moments in JoJo so far, to be honest.
Yeah.
Whenever I see people taking the piss, I'm like, hey, come on, that was a sick fight.
It was good.
Aside from Steel Ball Run, Dio's World is still my favorite portion of JoJo. And this is
it's
why.
My favorite so far. Like,
because even though I love Vanilla Ice and he's voiced by Aizen, I love him. Vanilla Ice is greatness. And when it comes to the whole Dio's World thing, it was just. Like, when I look back at it, and I was like, yo, if you were reading this at the time that it came out, this must have been absolutely incredible. Because you had all these series going on around you that are mainly martial arts based, and you have a strategic fight against a guy who cannot be beaten, and you have no idea what his power is. It's like a final boss battle in a video game. And it was so strategic, so incredible, and every single move that they did, they kept one-upping each other. Like, whenever Jotaro revealed that he had those magazines protecting him, I was shook. I was like, what? This is insane. And like how they kept trying to, like, one of the most insane moments to me was whenever Kakyoin is yelling and he's like, Jotaro, his stand is, and he's rag.
Oh, that was so
cool. People had to die for them to learn about his ability. That's how epic his ability was. Like, people had to die just for someone to learn a tiny nugget of information about how the fuck this guy's power worked.
I think that if Joseph wasn't so smart, then it would have been game over, because I think he figured out how long he could stop time for and stuff.
Yeah.
It was just such a good fight, and it's why I love JoJo, because JoJo's fights aren't really who's stronger than who. It's who can outsmart the other, who can get out the situation better than the other person. Like, and that fight was truly that, and it had like everything that a normal fight has, with the evolutions with Dio. Certain evolve, and it was perfect to me. Like, I think Dio versus Jotaro is like Frieza versus Goku level iconic. So good.
But what do you guys think of the Vanilla Ice, Iggy, Polnareff stuff? I thought that fight was really, really quite like awesome. Like, I remember that so vividly.
I was really sad when I thought Polnareff was about to like die.
Oh, me too.
Oh my god.
That episode.
I was never really that attached to Polnareff. I thought it was like cool, but I never really had any like particular liking for it.
That's where all the animal cruelty memes came out for JoJo. Kicking the dog to death and all that shit.
Dude, like that and Avdol, dude. Like Vanilla Ice was catching bodies.
He was.
He killed
man. Cream. He had a stand called Cream. Cream.
I think the Vanilla Ice fight was better in some senses. I think there was better in terms of it definitely evolved Polnareff as a character, because he sees kind of he grows because he knows Avdol and Iggy kind of died for him kind of thing, and I think he grows up a lot during that fight. He stops becoming so happy-go-lucky kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, is that just because from there on it, like in Star Wars Crusaders, it is just serious?
Well, you could say that, but at the same time, you kind of realise it was at the moment that he realised he was about to die.
Yeah.
The first time he really got scared was during that fight.
Yeah.
Even
I
when
agree.
he was fighting Dio, he wasn't really. He was quite scared while fighting Dio, but not more than anyone else was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was quite cocky in that one. I think even Jotaro was maybe more cautious, and the other guys, Kakui and everyone.
Yeah, but
Actually,
during
I
that
love-
fight, when Vanilla Ice was circling around him, you could see he was really scared.
Yeah.
So I can see why you say it's better.
I was just gonna say, speaking of being like cautious and stuff, yeah, like Charlie's like top notch like Dio fanboy. Yeah.
No, I'm right there with you. If it wasn't Dio, it would be Dio in that spot.
That's good. That's
I
good.
mean, I like that something like, I mean, Dio's got like the best voice actor of all time, obviously. But
Oh yeah, it's a
That might be a
Diego, man.
factual
So is
statement.
Diego.
he just said
Yeah, that's factual. Okay, now it is factual. Yeah, that's definitely factual now.
I was just gonna say like, going back to like the Jojo Dio fight. One thing that I really liked about that fight was how like cautious Dio was. Because like I would feel like I would feel like, especially at the time when Star Wars Crusaders was written, and even like now, I'm not bashing these series, but in like Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece and stuff, if you get like a final villain, they would kind of be like, if they're so confident they're gonna win, they kind of forget that. Hang on, you can actually die. Like they didn't get it for no reason.
Yeah.
They managed to be all.
Yeah, I assume they've already won, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's exactly why.
His finger or something, Dio stopped and put his ear to the ground.
Precisely.
That one.
Yeah,
That was like
because
the most intense moment I've seen.
It was
very
very simlar to the Aizen situation in Bleach, yo, where like it's just that Aizen was cocky, Dio wasn't. He was on spot. Like exactly what you just said. Whenever he was looking down and he was making sure that his heart was actually stopped beating.
Yeah.
I thought like my heart stopped then as well as Jojo's, but when Star Platinum had to stop it.
Yeah.
I feel like
Exactly.
I feel like because I didn't know what was gonna happen, right? Because I was on my own. I still am, but I mean, I feel like my heart was just being stopped by Star Platinum as well, like just waiting for that.
Yeah. Seriously, and like it just kept getting more drastic too, because every single time he stopped it, it would stop for like one more second.
Yeah.
And like it's gonna get to a point where he's gonna have out for like 10 seconds, and what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even says at one point, like if he keeps doing, he could stop it for an hour if he wanted to.
Can you imagine that? Had Dio actually activated for an hour?
Well, they would have been wrecked.
Everyone.
Exactly.
I can't lie. That is probably one of the best, if not the best, showcase of an actual villain that has like you have to stop this guy, because throughout Stardust Crusaders, we kept seeing him like teleport in front of his enemies. Okay, we've seen that before in other animes.
We've
seen it before, but in this anime, it's actually because he can stop time. Like
You know, the build-up for Dio was awesome. Now, you don't see the guy at all throughout Stardust Crusaders, but it's usually some animes don't pay off as well when they do that. But that part paid off, despite the entire absence of that guy.
I think it helped because we'd already seen him before, so we were really excited to see him again.
Yeah, it always kept like that mystery
the whole
still
time.
to him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and his actual appearance, whenever Polnareff looks at him, he just walks down the stairs. You're like,
I watched that scene so many times. Like that.
Yeah.
I watched it like 50 times before the next episode came out.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it.
I was going to say back to what you just said about like you saying that was like an example of like we need to beat this guy kind of thing, because you see like how open he is in that fight. I think the only two, on the top of my head, the only two examples I can think of, like, we have this guy, otherwise, like, the world's going to be like, under his control kind of thing. I think the only two examples I've seen is with Dio and Jojo and Friend in 20th Century Boys.
Yeah, I can see that.
I thought they're the only two I thought, like, if this guy wins, then the world's fucked kind of thing.
Yeah. Especially Dio, because we already knew Dio from part 1. We knew what he was capable of, and now that he actually has the power to do it, gosh.
Yeah. Because in part 1 he was kind of just like a weaker Pillar Man, but now
pretty much.
In part 3 he's way stronger than. I think he's even way stronger than Kaz. I don't think there's any way Kaz could beat him.
I still look at all the other like excluding some of the stuff that happens like later on, but I still look at some stuff in 4, 5, and 6, and I'm like, I still don't see how any of them will touch Dio. I don't know.
There is one character who could touch Dio. You know.
Yeah. No. But I'm talking about like out of just the main antagonist. Just out of the main antagonist.
Main antagonist.
Yeah.
I think the only one is. I don't want to say, but let's say you know he's on the love train. You know.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. yeah. That's what I meant. That's what I mean. Like besides that, like it's tough. It's tough to find one. Man.
It is. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you saw, but I did a video top 50 strongest characters, and Dio, he's high up. The only one I put higher than him was the Love Train. That was the only antagonist I put higher than Dio.
The Love Train.
A lot of people say that. I'm not gonna say.
Yeah.
Because you know Mackenzie and Dan here. I don't want to spoil.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying right now that Kira's gonna be a lot more impressive than Dio. I haven't seen past the latest episode.
Dio is way stronger than Kira.
No, but I do see what they're talking about, Charlie, because Kira isn't dangerous to his power. Kira's kind of like a Johan type of dangerous, you know, like where it's like you know this guy is just he doesn't have to be strong. He's just that dude.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
It's like Fred as well, he's not physically strong.
Yeah, exactly like that.
I mean,
I love Kira.
I mean, Shogun, man, he could be our friend with his bare fists.
The thing about Kira is that he's kind of like Johan in the sense that he doesn't stand out to, like, he obviously stands out to the viewer, but not to, like, the characters, because he's just, like, you know how, like, Johan is kind of like, nobody suspects him kind of thing, except for in the know.
The only thing I know
exactly what makes him dangerous.
Yeah, he's like a serial killer that's sort of got away with a whole bunch of shit in Mordia. At least that's what I know so far. So it seems as though he's inconspicuous. Like no one knows who the fuck he is and what's he doing and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, but speaking of Kira, they're actually doing something. A lot of people are saying this is going to make it better, but my memory's kind of hazy because it's been like a year since I read it. But it's actually changing. This arc that's coming up next, in the manga, actually happened. There's actually an arc before it, but they're swapping them around for some reason.
Yeah, maybe they want all the like tail end episodes to be like solid, like no breaks or something. Maybe that's why.
It could be like that's what some people are saying, that they're just trying to put all the ones that really go on the main story are back to back kind of thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter, to be honest.
Yeah.
But you know, Kira, you know, talk about him. Does get me.
One thing I like about Part 4 is that they've introduced a lot of interesting characters that have all been solid. Like, you could say that not all of the Crusaders were, you know, people's favorite, but I think they've introduced a lot of characters separately, but we don't know how the town works together. Like, for me, that's the one issue where to see these characters interact, so Tonio interacting with Rohan and you know, just doing their townly stuff, like different characters intermingling, you know. I think
Rohan's best boy, man.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, whenever I first saw a Rohan, I remember I used to think this all the time, that besides Dio, Rohan was my favorite character for a long time.
Oh.
And just off of first introduction, I loved him right off the bat.
Good shout.
Yeah.
He was.
I like
Shigechi, man. Shigechi's like my new Part 4 character.
This is something I've realised. All of the manga readers said, like, when they first see Shigechi, they say, "Oh, fuck Shigechi," and all of the anime fans have been saying, "Oh, I love Shigechi."
Yeah, it's the same thing with the Utsuro twist. The Utsuro twist, manga readers.
Honestly, I'm not big on the Utsuro.
Wait. We can't.
Yeah, I know. I know.
You can't.
I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there since it was mentioned.
Can I just say quickly, like, without spoiling, well, more so you can't spoil, like, what do you think about, like, what your initial, because obviously you don't know, like, the explanation as to, like,
what do I think about who? Utsuro?
Yeah, what you're, without seeing, like, what happened between the beheading and now.
I feel as though, I think it's to do with whatever this faith is. Like, I don't know what this Yagarasu heavens thing that he's talking about is, the crows and all that stuff. So I'm guessing it's to do, and I think Oboro brought up the fact that he survived Gintoki's impaling because Gintoki didn't hit him in a pressure point or something. Like, there's some sort of weird.
The same Fist of the North Star, man.
Yeah. So I'm guessing, like, I don't know what happened. Maybe he's a construct, like Thing was, Obi-Wan was. I don't know, man. Like, it could be anything.
If you had to guess one thing, what would you say happened?
What? Oh God, I don't know. Tendosha got some tech or some shit that they bought him back or something. I don't know. Yeah, something similar to Obi-Wan. What they did with him, they kept him alive somehow. I don't know, because this is what's interesting is Gintama's never been supernatural. I know they bought supernatural stuff up in comedy arcs, but as far as the serious stuff goes, resurrection's never been possible, and this supernatural sort of powers that you saw Utsuro have, like whatever was being demonstrated. Maybe that was a visual cue, but I felt as though there was something more kind of otherworldly with what was going on. So someone told me that they explained it, like soon after this point.
They will. I was gonna say you're gonna either love it or hate it. Let's put it that way. It's I might this.
Well, it's so good. Is it an arsepool or is it something like logical?
No.
I don't know if I'd say it's an arsepool. It's unexpected.
Unexpected.
I'll put it this way, yeah. I don't know if Almond what's his name, but Aluka from Hunter x Hunter is an arsepool, right? So much I love Hunter x Hunter.
Aluka. Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she's an arsepool.
Yeah.
I think that there's a big difference between those two.
Yeah.
Like, you can see that one of them is dead, just like.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's the issue, because for me, it's always been critical where if a show has not established resurrection as a thing, then that's an issue. Naruto's always established.
Dragon Ball. Who said it's resurrection, man? Who said it's resurrection?
No, he's using it as an example for.
Example, like what I mean is, Dragon Ball by its very nature, Dragon Ball, you could say that it's possible, resurrection possible, and it has been possible. Naruto's established Edo Tensei, sort of a resurrection has been possible.
Yeah.
But in Gintama, I don't know of anything that I can think of that would legitimize Shoya literally coming back, like Edo Tensei or something. So I don't know what it could be, man. But I'll wait and see what the explanation is. I'm sure it'll be fine as far as Gintama goes.
Well, Gintama's more like I'm not going to talk about the thing, but from like an anime perspective, it's more like sci-fi than supernatural.
So yeah, sci-fi would make sense to me, like technology-wise.
Yeah, it's definitely sci-fi, like, for sure.
I mean, it's not going to be nano machines, is it? Something like nano. That's the Metal Gear arsepool, isn't it? Nano machines, son.
That's right. Metal Gear Solid 4, everything's nano machines.
It's just like in Star Wars, the freaking midichlorians, man. That's
exactly.
Or,
but yeah, I'll be interested.
It's like Shonen, friendship power. Arsepool.
Friendship power, yeah. Heart of the cards.
Hey, that's my favorite one of them all. I can't lie to you. I say that all the time whenever I'm playing a game. Please, Heart of the Cards.
Did you ever play the card game, Omar? The actual card game, like the physical card game?
Oh yeah, man.
For Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah.
I still play it. I have my deck right behind the computer.
Oh yeah, same here. I've got my deck right next to me.
Yeah, I actually before Dueling Network shut down, I played that almost every day.
Oh wow, man. Like, I got jaded with the latest decks and stuff, because I used to like making decks, original decks, but now you've got synchro and all these kind of pre-made decks that people follow. Yeah. I hate that stuff, man. I love creating decks, the deck creation thing that went on. Yeah.
I stopped playing it once they got like synchros and stuff. Things like fusions I could deal with, but
I like synchros because 5Ds is personally my favorite story. Even though the original Yu-Gi-Oh is my favorite of like overall, like cards and everything, 5Ds is my favorite story when it comes to the actual manga. And but after 5Ds, like with Zexal, with their summonings. I'm like, yo, these guys are way too hacks. Like from the original to 5Ds, it at least felt balanced. Like I could fight with the original cards against 5Ds cards, but with the cards now, it's almost impossible. It's really hard.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and the ban list, the semi-ban list, is just stupid. Like the things are constantly going on off it, and really they phased them out, the old cards, because they want to introduce people buying the new cards and not using those, their old generation. Yeah.
Blue Eyes White.
That was my issue. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I still play it all the time. I was actually playing last night, the Legacy of the Duelist, the game on the Xbox and PS4.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know one.
Yeah, man, Yu-Gi-Oh's always been my stuff. Like, I know to a lot of people, Pokemon and Dragon Ball for me and Pokemon were huge in my childhood too. But Yu-Gi-Oh was always my favorite out of.
Same.
Way more.
That is a lasting legacy, man. Yu-Gi-Oh! Like I played that for more years than I can imagine, man.
Yeah.
Decks and everything, like guys, like literally, the latest I played was a couple of friends who I'd never met in a while. They came home from their work and we met up and just played a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel, man. It's just amazing.
Greatness. Yeah, dude.
It was always more Yu-Gi-Oh! than Pokemon for me.
Yeah.
Oh man, Bugdy, that's
it's because Kondo's ninth. He's freaking Dan is he's salty. He's salty.
Wait, I'm gonna read this out to them.
Daniel got triggered.
Bugdy.
Yeah, got triggered. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously number one. Yeah, the number one is obviously Go Choice. But Bugdy's posted his top 10. Bugdy, do you want to read it, man? Do you want to read it?
Do you want to read the book?
Yeah, come on, Bugdy. You can read it.
He's gonna say nano machines.
Bugdy, read your top 10 that you just posted.
Number 1, Gintoki. Number 2, Kagura. Number 3, Tsukue. Number 4, Isaburo. Number 5, Katsura and Takasuri. 6, Nobume. 7, Sogo and Oboro. 8, Hijikata. 9, Kondo. And 10, Madao.
Wow.
I say that one page I really like from that Oboro 7th, man. I'll give you that.
Top 5 is controversial, like not one, but some of your Isaburo is controversial, like you say.
I like it though. It's a unique list. I like it.
Yeah, it's unique. Although I don't know.
Where's the Cubit at the number 3 spot?
Yes.
You know what, Cubit, man? Like I love hate with her, man. For me, like I like her character, but I don't know. Where do you hold Cubit? Like in your top 10s, where is Cubit or top 20? Or
number 35.
Cube for me is right outside of the top 10, like right outside of it. Like I love Cube. She's awesome.
Yeah. Do you know what the funny thing is? Like we were talking about this, Omar, before, like we came on air and stuff. Like when you don't want to insult someone, like let's just say someone expects you to have Gintoki somewhere in the top 10. Like that person is leading the question and he wants you to have him high. You just say, instead of saying your top 10, oh, I have Gintoki in my top 20, instead of saying he's in my top 10, just so you don't insult the person. Like you could have Gintoki at 27, you can go, oh, he's in my top 30. So like to not insult someone.
You never want to see the exact number. I know what you mean.
Exactly. Yeah. But I can say that Gintoki's in my top 10 for sure. Like he's sealed in there. Like he's not going to be.
Are you just saying that just so you don't offend people?
No, I'm not saying that. I mean, what can I say? Like top 10's the average thing that people would cite as their top. So.
Hey, I respect that. Tama in the top 15. I respect that. I actually, it's kind of funny because if you remove the 1, that's where she is on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you just said, like if it's like unique, it's like you respect it 'cause it's different. Like it's not like
you resonate with some people more than others. I think.
Yeah.
There is still a boundary because I don't know if you saw the last hangout I did with Charlie, Ryan, and Mac. But Mac, he didn't have Hijikata in his top 30, man. Nah.
Are you kidding? Not in his top 30.
But I'm not gonna respect that.
Wait. Mac
didn't have Hijikata in his top 30.
Hijikata in his top 30? No.
No, Hijikata.
Next time I see him, yo, it's over.
You know, I think Hijikata is like for a lot of people like a mainstay. Like everyone can agree on Hijikata to some extent about being a top 10, at least the top 10. Like, you know, I don't think anyone can disagree that Hijikata is
For me, he's never a character that could be like top 3, but he's definitely a character that wouldn't go outside of the like top 10.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, conservatively top 15. I'm surprised Mac doesn't have 30. Like, are there actually 30 characters that exist in Gintama that could be better than Hijikata? I find it hard to believe, man. Unless it's bringing up Hedoro and Hata and all these guys.
Hedoro's in my top 30, man.
Yeah, Hedoro might be number 2. I mean, I'm just kidding. I'm playing.
Number 1.
Who's number 1? Prince Hatter, right?
What about Gengai? Where's Gengai in your top 20?
You know what? If I were to actually like compile like a top 30, he would probably be in the top 25. He really would.
Yeah.
Wait, let me post that thing that I did. Wait. I'm gonna post it to you really quickly.
Okay.
He's talking, by the way. I was gonna say actually, you know one character who I think is really underrated. You guys might laugh.
Who?
You might even recognise his name. You know, Tojo, who's the guy who stalks QA.
Yeah.
I think he's so funny.
He is.
Like, he makes me laugh so much.
He's got the best tasting girls in Gintama.
Questionable, right? Questionable.
Nah, I think that goes to Yamazaki, man.
Nah, I go to Kentucky, man. I go to Kentucky or Screw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Ketsunana? I think a lot of females have Ketsunana really high up in their top stuff. I mean, the only ship you can make is Gintoki Ketsunana. Even up until I was saying this before. Even up until FS, Gintoki had a thing for Ketsunana. Nothing's changed from that, man.
Ever since Red Spider, I can't put Gintoki with anyone but Tsukuyo. I really can't, yo. I can't.
Exactly.
I can see it. I am more Ginsu than Ginkets because
Ginkets, it's not a thing.
What is it's Ginkets no now? What do you want me to say?
Well, if it's Gin and her entire name is Gin and ass, you know, so it's like
Yeah.
That seems more like that's more like there's no, he doesn't necessarily like her in terms of like, he doesn't really, I don't want to say he doesn't know her well, because obviously there's that whole arc with her, but he's a lot closer to Tsukuyo. Like, that's kind of like, when you got like a celebrity kind of thing, it's like you don't, you want to be like in love with him, you just like, you get like people who are like, proper, like mad or like.
But you know what, I'm not gonna lie, like, as much as I don't like have as much love for Tama, I would say that the most organic ship, I know she's a robot, but Tama and Gintoki is the most organic one.
Put their names together
that kind of
Tama.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, exactly. That could legitimately arise. You know, I don't see Tsukuyo apart from
even Saraji.
Saraji shipped them. Yeah.
Well, you must do. Look at the title, man.
He named the entire arc after them. The Gintama arc. They were the two main characters.
Yeah.
No, the link isn't working, Dan. I'm trying to open it. It says not found.
Shit, no, I that as well. Shit. Is it broken? Oh, fuck it. I found my screen on my computer. Alright, doesn't matter. No, I say, man, told you he's underrated. I was gonna say that.
I can't lie though. My favorite ship, this is top 3 favorite ships in all of anime manga for me is Kagura and Sogo, no doubts.
Hey, what about Gintoki and Madao, man? What went on there, man?
That's facts.
Canon. Yeah, that's canon, man. What happened with them?
I'm a Kondo Onotai, man. Come on.
Oh yeah, that one too.
What about Gin and Otose, man?
Oh yeah, Gin and Otose.
Scandal arc.
What about Prince Hata and number 1?
What, Gin cross Prince Hata?
No. Prince Hata and him and the number 1, like the actual spot at number 1.
Well, then you got to talk to Moin about that.
Yeah, that's Moin's number 1.
Oh, okay. That would be interesting. That would be an interesting ship, man. I mean, I don't want to give it away. My review will have my top 6 here, but yeah, it'll be interesting.
Prince, yeah, I really do hope you Prince Alta #1 though, so I can comment that, and I'll send it like everyone to your video. This guy is Prince Alta #1. He's a legend.
Yeah, you know what? I want to give people something like I want to give my honorary #1. I know it's a joke #1, like even for me, because there are characters I legit like more. My #1, it make complete sense, but I gotta have Hata as #1, man, because I gotta rep that guy.
I know your #1's gonna be there.
Yeah.
If YouTube's copyright system wasn't so crap, I would tell you to whenever you say okay #1 is, and then you start playing Prince Alta's music, like you start playing the music.
Yeah,
that would be so good.
Yeah, man. Legit, people think that I'm just doing it to be an outlier. People saw my reactions when Hata was there. I thought this guy just sums up, like he's a good embodiment of what Gintama does, you know, and obviously he's not even an archetypal character. I've not seen a character like that in any show. And I was like, wow. Like it's been a hiatus since I came back from showing like Naruto, One Piece. There was a huge gap between me watching those animes and starting Gintama. When I came to Gintama, I was like transformed, man, on Gintama.
Well, I can see why
you're saying when you first saw Hata. I mean, you said like he was like one of your mates. Is that one of the reasons you like him so much?
Yeah, but you can find a lot of people you know in Gintama. Like as far as traits go, you know. That's why it makes it such a human anime. Like,
well, yeah, I see Chai's future in Hasegawa.
That's up. I don't agree with it.
Hasegawa, man. Love that guy.
No, yeah, you definitely can. Yeah.
And the thing that I was saying about Hasegawa is that guy. If that guy ever catches a break, that destroys that character in that show. So that guy's gonna be a perpetual state of madness for him to constantly work. So it's kind of nice in a way that they can laugh at him, be emotional about him. But if you ever catch the break, that would basically invalidate his character in the show. And what would Madara do if he got his job back, and he became like an outstanding.
I will say this when it comes to Hijikata, like going back to like the relatable thing, Hijikata and Shinsengumi Crisis is actually me. Like when I go to work, I have to put on the fronts because I'm like the boss, and I go through all this. But when I go home, I'm exactly Toshi.
Yeah.
I'm Toshi. So I definitely can relate to that so much.
Yeah.
Who do you guys say like one character? Who would you say you're most like? I know it's exaggerated, but
most like.
Who do you say you're?
I'm most like Afro. Sorry, what's his name, man? I keep forgetting Afro. Saito, yeah.
Oh, Saito.
Yeah. I'd say I'm most like Saito.
You run notepads and like hold them up. Though.
Sorry.
You just like hold up the notepads.
Well, you know what? I resonate with him. Like he's got a lot to say. It's pent up stuff.
Yeah.
He feels that he can. He wants to speak up for himself, and he feels as though some people take advantage of him and all that stuff. I actually resonate. That's why I liked his introduction, even though some people would disagree that it was the right time for him to be introduced right before that really hectic arc and everything. So.
I kind of think it was a good idea to have him introduced. I think it was done a little bit earlier in the manga, but
it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't a significant amount.
I love that joke they've got now with Elizabeth, like Elizabeth slapping him on the ground, and they're constantly holding out the signs. That's actually a great addition. Yeah, that ongoing gag will be hilarious. Like they can play with that gag from here on in.
I honestly think it was a good time to introduce him because I think obviously it was like right before FS, and they're in like SA as well. I think not only did it give a reason to like the Shinsengumi even more,
that was more for Zura's sake, I think. A lot of Zura-focused stuff happened before SA to get Zura up to speed with his relationship with Shige and the Shinsengumi.
Yeah.
And just so.
I think it gave like Kastora and the Shinsengumi like one last go at each other before they team up.
Exactly. So it didn't come out of nowhere. That it came out of some sort of mutual respect, at least. So.
And it wasn't pointless that he was there. He did have an effect on the characters and stuff.
Yeah, he did. I really liked the Zura Shige episode. where he got to spend some time with the. So that was actually that was one of my favorite 2015 episodes. I think that moment was needed because especially since this guy is like a revolutionary in Zura, so you need him to see the other side, and he actually saw this Shige as the man. He didn't see him as this guy surrounded by idiots, speaking for him. He saw him as the man. So I thought that was a beautiful moment between them.
I think that as well, just not long before I say it really shows you like the difference between him and like Shinsuke. Like, I think that was another reason him in saying like, he's not going to be part of the Shogun assassination, and then it's going to hit home when he dies.
Yeah, but I was like,
you'd think it would be like, you'd think when Katsura found out that Shige had died, you'd think he'd be like over the moon kind of thing. He'd be like, his dream coming true, but he was like really sad.
Yeah,
because he actually knew him as a person.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's why he was probably more forthcoming with the Shinsengumi. He understood what they lost, and he understood that what they were going through, and more or less they'd gone through the same thing, and that bond had to be there for FS, not just for Gintoki and the Shinsengumi, but Zura and Shinsengumi as well. So.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why like Gin fought so hard in FS as well, because he didn't want the Shinsengumi to go through the same thing that he did with obviously with Kondo.
Yeah. And it wouldn't have made sense if Zura like had offered to get himself locked up next to Kondo, like if that hadn't happened. Because it did happen, the motivations were more clear for him. So.
Yeah, exactly.
That was such an amazing moment whenever Kondo he has that speech about ideologies and whatnot. That was some of my favorite stuff in FS.
Oh, yeah.
It was so good.
It was amazing. Yeah. They're both on the different sides of the fence, but they're both fighting for the same thing, and that's a common thing that they had in common. So.
Yeah, they said that actually at one point. They were like, they both go about different ways, but at the end of the day, they're both trying to achieve like peace in Japan and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have one last look through comments. I didn't realize how late it was.
Yeah, it's gone on really long, man. That's what Gintama does, man. We could literally mine Gintama because there's so much greatness to explore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think we covered a lot of good stuff today, though. I'm really glad at that.
I said, actually, wait, there's one thing I was going to ask. It's like completely off topic, but I didn't want to forget it.
Yeah.
Omar, who's your favourite character from 20th Century Boys, by the way?
Who's my favorite character in 20th Century Boys?
Yeah.
It's between Friend and Kana.
I'll say that. I wanted you to say Shogun, man.
Oh yeah. Shogun is awesome. He's definitely my top 5. But like,
you know what? One thing. Yeah, go on.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that. I don't know if you kind of had it. I think you might have, but when I read 20th Century Boys, I always read Shogun's voice as Snake. I always feel like someone like.
Yo, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Like I always, because sometimes when I read it, like you said, when it's like a speech and stuff, I might read it out loud so I remember it. I always try and do my best Snake impression when I
read it.
If you give an MGS4 Snake impression, you have to always grumble.
Oh yeah, the gravelly voice.
Yeah, I imagine it has like old Snake, you
gotta cough after every word.
War never changes.
I try and do it as good as I can. I don't know how good it is, but
yeah.
I could find a bit, maybe. I could find a bit and try and do it.
Yeah.
No, not Kiefer Sutherland impression. David Hayter.
Oh no, Sutherland.
Kiefer was good though. I know a lot of people gave him hate, but because he was minimal in 5.
Yeah,
he pulled off a much older Big Boss, like for me. But
he did a really good job.
Yeah, Hayter was iconic though. No one tops Hayter, man, for me.
Yeah, it's that's my dude.
But as we know, I'm not gonna spoil for Dan, but as we know, it does make sense.
Oh yeah, it does make sense.
Oh yeah, it actually does.
It does, yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
A man who sold the world.
Yeah. And even the end of 4 kind of paints a more broad, like a explicit picture of why that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could not have like him. Once they've shown that they're 2 separate. So.
Yeah. All right.
An amazing 2-hour film that was.
Oh man, that was so long. I couldn't believe how long that was. Didn't you do you did a live reaction to that, right?
Yeah, I did a live reaction to the entire, like, from in the middle of the final, I think it was, no, from the beginning of the final fight.
Yeah.
All the way up until the very, like, when we went back to the main menu. An entire live reaction, and throughout the entire credits, I was talking about how amazing the game was, and then I just paused. I was like, "Wait, what? This doesn't make any sense." And then the credits kept jumbling, and then when it actually got to the ending, I was like, "Whoa!"
I know.
I was so caught off guard. I was like, "Yo!"
Actually, you know what? The end of MGS4 at the graveyard. That is, for me, the best scene in a Metal Gear. It was like. Emotions, overall, like, I wouldn't say it's the best game or anything like that, but I would say that moment at the end was the best cutscene, hands up.
Yeah,
I think as soon as, like, I'm trying to avoid spoilers for Dan, but right at the end, the music kicks in. Here's to you, you know that, right?
Yeah.
As soon as that kicks in at the end, that's when the tears start flowing.
Like, it has some of my favorite lines of dialogue. I think it's my favorite ending. Like, my favorite ending overall because MGS3 has like my favorite moment / like the most iconic one for me when it comes to when I think of Metal Gear. That's why I love it so much. It's my favorite. But MGS4's ending is so perfect, and it just ties together everything so well. And
it does,
yeah.
It feels like the end of a story.
It does, yeah.
There's only one. There's only Ruben. Oh, I can't say it. I can't even say it. I can't even. I was about to say it. I can't even say it. There's only enough room in this world for one. Oh god.
I was pleading for that to happen when I heard that. I was like, no, don't do it.
Yeah, do you know, even the way that scene was choreographed was just amazing. That initial interaction and all that stuff was just amazing.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it, but I can't say it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I understand. It's so well done, man.
That's what Metal Gear does so. Those post-credit scenes in every game always get me. Like you remember the end of MGS1? I can't talk about the end of MGS1, right? I can't talk about it.
No, you can talk about it. Yeah.
Okay.
I can. I can talk about the post-credit scene.
Yeah, Daniel beat MGS1.
Oh, okay. When they referenced Solidus, I was like, "Who? What?"
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh man! And then you get to MGS2 and you're like, what? And then after the credits of MGS2, you're like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
The Patriots.
Yeah. Solidus doesn't get enough credit, honestly, because of the stigma some people attach to MGS2. Solidus doesn't get this credit he deserves. I mean, look at what that guy accomplished, man. Like his position, his status, what he did. I think he is really one of the most underrated characters.
You're completely right. I prefer him to Liquid.
Yeah. I prefer him slightly more than Liquid. I like the MGS1 Liquid. Okay, that's what I'll say.
Liquid.
I'm going to end the stream in a minute.
Yeah.
Oh my days, I've just lost my train of thought again. I was going to ask you one last question, Wayne. I can't remember what it was. No, I'm not going to completely forgot it.
Was it Gintama? Was it something else?
Yeah, Gintama. I can't remember what it was. Question I was going to ask you, I completely forgot it. I don't know. Oh yeah,
it's good though.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I was going to say, just before I end it, what are you expecting from in the future of Gintama? What are your predictions?
I'm expecting. What am I expecting? Do you know what I want?
One thing, it's still serious. If that helps.
Okay, what I want is I want them to look at the power structures, the Tendosho power structure. Like, I feel as though no one questions it. Like, they question the puppets, but they never question a bunch of flipping aliens in lampshades, casting judgment and making decisions for everyone. I know obviously the Emperor won't get explored because the Emperor is more like a figurehead position, like the Queen is someone is. Yeah, but I do want them to explore space, man. That's what I want. I want them to kind of explore that a bit, Not explore the people like Nobunaga right in front of your face. I want that resolution because honestly, man, at the end of SA, I felt like something be robbed from me. I want retribution. Needs to be served. So I want them to politically, talk about that, explore that, and I think that's where it's gonna go. Maybe at some point, like the Tendosho and questioning that and seeing what there can be done there.
I ain't gonna spoil you, but I think you'll be satisfied. I think you'll be satisfied the next time.
Yeah.
100%.
I guess that's the
yeah. You got some. I'll tell you that.
Oh, nice. A few people have said that. I think 1 or 2 people in the comments said that you'll be satisfied. There may not be full resolution for things you want, but you'll start to get there. You'll start to get more of what you want. Based on what I said. So
yeah, you will.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not going to say it in case you forgot, but I'll say you said something earlier, which is really intrigued me. You said you really like something about Gintama.
Oh, okay. The Yata stuff, yeah. I really like that.
I'm not saying it's wrong. You said something earlier.
Okay.
You really like it, and then I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad, man. Because it feels like a logical progression. That's awesome. When do you think it'll come back, though? When do you think the anime will come back? Like, is there?
I think we'll have to wait a couple of years.
A couple of years?
I think so.
Because if you just look at the pattern between how long it normally takes, I think it's a safe estimate.
I'd say 2018 it'll come back.
Would you say that when the anime comes back, it's gonna complete its run? Like it'll be when after Gintama finishes.
The manga is ending. Say it every time. So actually, the manga is ending this year or next year.
Oh,
so
damn.
Probably like December, January kind of time.
Yeah.
So
you'd imagine that would be the last anime
series.
They
should complete it, like.
Wow. That's something to look forward to, then, man.
I reckon it'll probably come out late 2017, early 2018.
Yeah.
Hopefully they bring out some more OVAs, like not just like push until then and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, we didn't even talk about a lot. Just quickly, what do you guys think about the live action movie? Because the cast came out, didn't it?
That's weird. Like, they've cast Gengai, right? Like, I know some of the side character ones. I like Kagura, the girl they got to do Kagura. She seems like she fit the part. As long as she can come across with the right humor and seriousness and that kind of thing, I'll be fine. Gintoki, slightly young. Don't you think some of the cast are slightly on the young side for these characters?
Well, I think that Kagura is slightly old to play Kagura, I think.
Yeah. But the male characters are slightly young.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people. I think Kondo look really good, and Hijikawa. I think they really look good. For
Hijikawa I thought looked good.
I think a lot of people are worrying too much. Like, obviously, they got to look like characters, and if they get in the costume,
Well, you can't make them look exactly like the character.
Yeah.
When they decide that.
Some of the set photos look good, though. Attention to detail with the sets.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
The attention to detail look really good.
The only thing I'm thinking is, it's like, I don't think Gintama should be live action. That's the thing. It's not. Yeah. I don't think there are some series where you think, okay, I could see this as a live action, like they made the Great Teacher on Izuku live action greatness.
You can't get away with some of the sketches that Gintama does in live action. Yeah. You can't have a dude drilling a hole in someone's asshole. That kind of,
You can't have Prince Hassel.
Yeah.
Head roll, you can't have him either.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things where if you watch it as an anime or read it as a manga, you could think, this is really good. But if you watch it as live action, you'll think, this is tacky, this kind of sucks. I'm not saying that is what it's going to be like, but that's how I'm kind of expecting.
No, I fully understand.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as like the JoJo live action that's coming up.
Do you know the issue will be for people is that, Rurouni Kenshin live action film, people like really respond well to that film. So when they see a samurai-centric film like this, where they have to push the comedy because that's the core of Gintama. It depends on what story they cover. What story do you think they'll do? Original?
I really wanted them to adapt for what they was into live action.
I think they're just gonna do. I think they might do like.
But I know they're not going to now. There's no casting for like Jirocho and stuff.
I don't think they're gonna do like.
Just do an original thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do an original story. I think what they're going to do is they're going to... I don't want to say combine the stories together, but they're going to get... Obviously, every series in the world has a sort of overarching story, right? Overarching. I think they're going to make a sort of summary plot of Gintama instead of directly copying an arc.
You know what I think they're going to do? They're going to establish the lore of the world, which is the Amanto and stuff, like a CGI sequence or something. And it's going to be basically Gintoki playing off against Shinsengumi, maybe, for the most part of the film. I feel as though they're going to establish those characters, because there's so many characters to establish in one film. Yeah. They have to do it in this film. So they're going to focus on Yorozuya Soul and Shinsengumi. That's my idea. I don't know what story there will be. Maybe some plot that they have to unfoil or one-off, you know, they're helping someone out, like skate dance or something. I don't know. Something.
I don't know what they're going to do. It should be good anyway, but...
I think one thing... Will it be good? Will it be good, that?
I think it would be good. I think just the last thing I was going to say. Like, people really worry about, oh, he doesn't look like Gin. He doesn't look like, you know, Counselor. It's like, I mean, like, yeah, they're not going to look exactly like the character, but you got over there, like, their acting skills and stuff as well.
Yeah.
It's not just who looks best, it's who, like, can play the part the best as well.
Yeah, but they usually
looks exactly like Shinpachi, but if they can't play as well whatsoever, then it's not going to get casted.
But they often cast J-pop singers and basically pop idols and singers. Yeah. Usually, that's the case. That's like FMAB. The main guy playing Edward is a pop singer. I'm like, where does these cast? Oh, he's a pop singer as well.
Pretty much all of them, I think. Hijikara, I've heard him sing.
Yeah, it always happens. Like, even the guy playing Jotaro is like a J-pop singer.
Jotaro, are they doing a live-action JoJo, yeah? Is that what came out?
Yeah.
The guy they got playing Jotaro, like, I'll be honest, man, that's whack. Like, what do you think, Charlie? I saw the picture, man.
Yeah.
How is that? Yeah.
I don't know, but I think that with the Gintama one, it's a lot. Yeah, you do get people who, whenever there's a live action thing, people say, "Oh, it doesn't look like them," kind of thing. But you also got to forget, it's not just, you know, once you put makeup on them, once you get them in the costume, once you hear their voice, you might still start to believe that it's more like the character. You're not going to get somebody who looks exactly like Gin, are you?
Yeah.
Nobody actually has hair like that in real life. Nobody looks exactly. Apart from you, but like nobody looks exactly like these characters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. You're never gonna get someone looking like a, you know, slightly nondescript anime character. So you have to kind of use your imagination a bit. As long as they get the dialogue right, the writing. Like, I don't know how involved Soichi is with the film. What does he think of it?
No idea.
Yeah.
I think we'll find out eventually.
Yeah. When's it coming out? Is it getting filmed right now? Like
2018 is set.
Damn. Well, I guess it will boost you know, exposure for Gintama the anime, which is the best thing to come out of things like this.
It might not be in a good way if we're following the track of live action adaptation.
Yeah, stuff, but at the end of the day, whether it's good or bad, it's not going to affect like.
No, it won't.
Nah, it won't.
Like, nobody says Tekken's bad after watching the film.
True. Well, then again, Tekken's a video game. I think it's a Japanese movie based on a Japanese anime. That particular territory, it might damage some credibility. I don't know, but you know,
I'm not sure about that. Really,
I thought that the Kashan, like, you know, when they made the Kashan film, the live action film, that actually damaged the brand. I think, you know, because I think Kashan was like a people loved that in Japan, but when Sins came out, it didn't really do well, man. Like, people wasn't received well, even though it was a good anime. So I don't know. Gintama might hold up to scrutiny that way, even after the film. So.
Well, it can be, you know, like really extreme, but I think it has to be quite an extreme case.
Yeah.
For something's reputations be ruined by an adaptation, even by like an anime. If it's a manga adaptation, like look at like Berserk, like nobody's gonna say it sucks just because they don't like the anime.
Yeah.
Or like the Naruto fillers. If some like that has damaged it, I think.
Yeah.
Like adaptations in general.
Yeah, what Gintama has on its side is that it balances serious and comedy. So whichever way the film lies, it won't rub people the wrong way. It wouldn't be like a Naruto movie that became more comedic and goofy and slapstick. Like, it wouldn't be like that. Would really hurt it. But if this goes comedy, people fine. If it goes serious, it'll be fine, I think, and people appreciate it. So there's not really.
If it's comedy, you say, well, it's the roots. If you say it's serious, it's more story based. You know, it can be either.
Yeah, but I think a JoJo film would be harder to do. To pull off a JoJo film live action, balancing the sort of tongue in cheek with the serious, like that would be a difficult thing. I think they should not
I think you're
try
forgetting one thing. You're forgetting one thing. They have stands.
They have stands, yeah. But I mean, they've done Death Note movies with CGI.
Yeah.
Phantom, like these kind of characters.
Do you think are they going to adapt the scene where Abdul humps Joseph?
So where Abdul humps, how could you pull that off, man? I mean, Japan's pretty conservative. Like as far as live action goes, they're still reasonably conservative. And anime is the only really medium that gets away with some edgy stuff, whereas the live action doesn't really. Maybe. We'll see how they depict a black character in the Japanese movie. I will laugh so hard if they cast like an Oriental person. Yeah, a dark-skinned Oriental person. They should at least cast I don't know, Egyptian darks. Yeah, but
it's not even just Abdul. What if they cast an Oriental Joseph or Polnareff? That'd be stupid as well.
Yeah, because Polnareff is French, innit? So
and Joseph's English. So
that's part of the reason why I think JoJo is so underestimated, because it has a lot of Western influence, a lot of Japanese influence, but a lot of good Western influences. It's a multicultural anime. It's not all about ninjas in Japan and all this stuff. Like it borrows a lot from pop culture.
It doesn't just like cater to Japanese audiences, kind of thing.
Yeah, which is why people will feel in the West that they've Japan washed it. If they make a live action film, and people over in Japan will feel as though no, this is a Japanese anime. We need to cast Japanese people, otherwise people will get upset about it. So
yeah, and that's true though. It is true. Japanese people would get upset if they cast even if they cast a white person for a white character.
Yeah,
they would probably still be upset about it.
Exactly, that's why it's so difficult. I think if they get it right, that they can get it right, but it's very difficult to do JoJo on like a live action. Like, I know it's dumb of me to say it, considering that Gintama's getting made with all the wacky stuff that happens, but I think JoJo will be very difficult to do, man. But maybe the West could do it, or production like Ghost in the Shell lately and stuff. So maybe it could work like that, like a co-production.
I think it's not like saying let's make a Ghost in the Shell live action, because JoJo is like I'm not sure how to say it, but I'm not saying it's like a founding father. It's not like a '60s series, but it's like a sort of like a cultural. It's like a keystone kind of thing.
It's one of the dad series of a lot of other series.
When you talk about like a manga from Japan, that is one of the like big ones kind of things. I feel it's something that they would want. This is just my. This is what I'm assuming, but I would assume that they would be more protective over it than something like a bit newer.
Yeah, but then again, Dragon Ball Evolution got made, and look how that turned out.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't want them to make a JoJo. I think JoJo works. It's fine. Just leave it alone, man. Like, you don't need to make a CG, like a film that won't have the budget required to show. Budget's important as well for Stan. It's very it's got supernatural elements to it. It's funky. It's got the color. I don't think you could do it, man. Like, I don't think Japan could do it. If someone made some dumb American, like Western version of it, maybe they would, but they screw it up, man. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Oh yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end it there. You guys can talk it off, but it's like 4 AM. So.
Oh yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, that's cool. Now, it was awesome today, man. I'm glad you got involved, and Recon, Omar, Daniel, Bogdy, Ryan, all you guys.
Yeah, man, it was a blast.
Now, it was awesome speaking to you, man. This is the first time I wanted to speak to. I consider you, Omar, like the authority on Gintama, man. I'm not sure there's anyone that doesn't think that. So it was great talking to you, bro, and Daniel, man. Cheers for organizing this. And getting us together and everything.
Definitely, man. I really appreciate those words, man.
No worries at all, man.
I mean, so everyone watching, everyone can be watching on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Peace.